Chapter 12:15. Get down. Chapter 12:15. Get down. Just as the people of Hellgate left, the people of the Thousand Alliance sect followed suit. Was this a coincidence? Of course not. Lai Yen had never thought that abnormal powerhouse would actually appear on the Emperor list, and they were even the most ancient nine-secret warrior family and Xianyuan clan. Zhan Wushuang and Xianyuan Li Er were both super powerhouse of Emperor list. Even if he was given 100 guts, it would still be impossible for him to clash with them head-on. Of course, this was not because the influence of the sect was inferior to the Hellgate, but it was just that the sect did not come to the superpower house. Thus, Fiery Blaze was waiting at the foot of the mountain. If the Yuanyang clan was massacred, he would leave. If not, that would replace execution. Long Fei, you dog slave, your father is back. This time, he was determined to kill Long Fei and make sufficient preparations. The most crucial part was that Long Fei was defeated in one move by Zhan Wushuang. This was the perfect time to beat a drowning dog to death. Yang Wanna's face sank and exclaimed inwardly, "This is bad." Long Fei was the same as before. His eyes were dim, and he did not have any fighting spirit. Zhan Wushuang defeating him in one move was a huge blow to him. He thought that he would be able to sweep across the entire Chaos Realm just because he had main artifact S, however. In this world, he was not the only one who owned main artifact. The Chaos Realm was much more terrifying than he imagined. The reason why the main gun could not lock onto it was because the first stage of the Dragon Coffin's power was not strong enough to shake the defensive main artifact on Zhan Wushuang's body. If he could not even lock onto the main gun, what strength did he have to fight Zhan Wushuang? Impossible. Yang Wanna looked at the helpless Long Fei and said, "Brat, cheer up. I need your help. Yang Yu needs your help too. Your brother, your war pet all need your help." Ha ha ha. At this moment, Fiery Blaze arrived at the square, laughing maniacally. Wu Yingliang immediately welcomed them with a smiling face, saying, "Lord Lai Yen, I have already surrounded them, and am waiting for you all to come. Today, the slave and Yang Wanu will not be able to escape. Also, I've already asked someone to bring Yang Yu over." Wu Yingliang was like a dog who had seen its master, wagging his tail and begging for mercy. He was extremely obedient. Lai Yen smiled coldly and said, "Very good." Lai Yen looked at Long Fei, who did not have the slightest intention to fight, and said with cold contempt, "Losing dog. Ha! Long Fei, you also have such a day? Weren't you very arrogant in front of me back then? Aren't you the one who is rampant? Why does it look like a dead dog now?" Yang Wanna said, "Fiery Flame. Old thing, scram to the side. Do you have the right to speak here?" Chapter 12:16. I need a class up. Chapter 12:16. I need a class up. Ha ha. Ha ha. Ha ha. Lai Yen was laughing, while the few elders behind him were laughing. Wu Yingliang also laughed along, and when the elders of the Yuanyang clan saw him laughing, they also started to laugh. Everyone on the Yuanyang clan laughed complacently. Anu rushed out, his heavy sword stabbing towards Lai Yen, who was laughing proudly, and said, "You are not allowed to insult, miss. Anu doesn't want it." Yang Yu shouted loudly, "You're courting death." Both of Lai Yan's eyes were filled with rage as he turned to face Anu's throat. Suddenly, a chila sound came out as blood spurted out, and his windpipe was torn off. Anu. Yang Yu's face turned pale white. Anu's body swayed and fell dead. Lai Yen threw away the windpipe in his hand, took out a handkerchief and stabbed it with the blood in his hand, then said with a cold smile, "Yang Yu, there is a limit to how long I can wait. Agree or not agree? I've never been on someone like you, who is born with a terminal illness. I wonder how you feel. Ha ha ha." Yang Wanu was enraged. He was stomped under Wu Yingliang's feet. His face was facing the ground, and was unable to say a word. Yang Yu looked at Long Fei. Long Fei said powerlessly, but at this moment, a small voice arose in his heart. Some are kneeling down and begging for mercy, while others are kneeling down, and others are kneeling down. The voice grew louder and louder. Kneel! Wu Yingliang shouted. The elders of the Yuanyang clan also stared at him and shouted, "Kneel!" To be able to become Lord Lai Yan's woman is something that you've cultivated for 8 lifetimes. For a waste like you, who only has a natural body, to be able to live in such a state, it would be a disgrace. Stop dragging Yuanyang clan down. Kneel before Lord Lai Yan. Tears rolled down his face, and he looked at the sun, who was standing high above him with a complacent expression on his face. Yang Yu's heart tightened as he said, "All right, I'll kneel down for you." Ha ha ha. Lai Yan laughed out loud. With extreme pride, he said immediately, "Kneel on the ground and beg me to marry you. If you want Long Fei to live, then you must serve me well tonight." Ha ha ha. Yang Yu's heart was bleeding. At this time, she couldn't do anything. She wanted her father to live, wanted Long Fei to live. Right now, the only thing she could do was to obey the fiery blaze. This was her only choice. Yang Yu slowly kneeled down in front of Lai Yan and said, "Lai Yan, I beg you, please let them go. I'm willing to do anything for you." Ha ha ha. Lai Yan laughed out loud. Not bad, very obedient. Now kowtow and take a look. Wu Yingliang roared out and said, "Kowtow." The people from the Yuanyang clan shouted in unison, "Cow." Yang Yu looked at Lai Yan tightly clenching his fists, but in that instant his fists loosened and he heavily smashed down. Yang Wanu crazily roared in anger. Ah, ah. Lai Yan laughed out loud. Wu Yingliang also laughed crazily. "Yang Wanu, did you see that? Did you see that?" Ha ha ha. But when they were able to laugh, a figure slowly stood up. His entire body was covered in blood, and his eyes were bloodshot. He spoke with a gloomy voice that sounded like it came from hell. "Do you really like it when people kneel down and kowtow so much? Don't you feel ashamed that so many of you are bullying a girl?" Long Fei stood up. His body was trembling, and he couldn't stand properly. The system was also issuing an alarm. Ding! System notification. Player's health point is low. Please supplement. Ding! System notification. Player's health point is low. Please supplement. Zhan Wushuang's one move had almost instantly killed Long Fei. Long Fei stood up. The violent killing intent in his mind grew stronger and stronger. The rage in his mind grew stronger and stronger. Was begged for mercy by Xianyuan Lier. Excited by Yang Yu's begging, at this moment, Long Fei's fighting spirit soared once again, burning brightly. The collapse in his heart started to heal in an instant. There is nothing impossible in this world. I can stand at the peak of God's martial continent. I can do the same in Chaos Realm. Zhan Wushuang, just you wait. Yang Yu's kneeling provoked him. There was no trace of decadence in his eyes. There was only anger and a murderous intent. Seeing Long Fei stand up, Yang Yu's eyes flashed with a trace of bright light. It ignited a strand of hope, but in that instant, this hope was shattered. His current physical condition was such that even a 10-year-old child could push him down, let alone an expert like Sunscorch. Huh. Lai Yan was startled, then looked at Long Fei, who stood up and laughed. "Oh, our slaves have stood up. You want to be a hero again? You dog slave. You can't even stand properly. Right now, what are you going to use to fight with me? You think it's like last time?" Yang Yu immediately said, "Lai Yan, I promise you everything. I beg you, please let Long Fei go." "Let him go." Ha ha ha. Lai Yan sneered. "Do you know what I like to do the most? My favorite is to beat a drowning dog. Long Fei, you were defeated by Zhan Wushuang in one move, yet you didn't even dare to admit that she was your fiancée when facing your own woman. What kind of man are you? Your fiancée is about to become a different woman, yet you don't even dare to fart. Are you still human? But that's good too. Zhan Wushuang saved me a lot of trouble. As for you, a drowning dog, I will slowly torture you to death. Lai Yan was a member of the 10,000 Alliance. He knew a lot more than an ordinary person. For example, Xianyuan Lier was originally Long Fei's fiancée. However, there were no memories in Long Fei's mind at all. Was it something that happened to him while he was undergoing the heavenly tribulation, or did he possess a body like he did when he transmigrated? Or could it be he was originally a junior master of the Hellgate, just that? Was there a memory? He didn't even know himself. Long Fei couldn't explain it clearly. Hearing Lai Yan say this, his heart tightened and his teeth chattered loudly. Lai Yan laughed contemptuously. The number one beauty in the world, Xianyuan Lier, if it was me, even if I was useless, I wouldn't be as afraid to admit it like you. Slaves are slaves. Ha ha ha. Lai Yan mocked. The image of Xianyuan Lier appeared in Long Fei's mind. She's my fiancée. She's my fiancée. At this moment, Long Fei suddenly exploded, roaring towards the sky. She's my fiancée? Lai Yan laughed coldly and said, You can't even protect your own woman. She will soon be Zhan Wushuang's woman. And Yang Yu, hee, she's about to become my plaything. Ha ha ha. Long Fei opened his eyes wide and stared straight at Lai Yan in a daze and said, You? Lai Yan laughed. That's right, it's me. She will become my plaything. What can you do with your dog-like appearance? Being as bedraggled as a dog. Hit a drowning dog. Let's see who is a drowning dog today. Long Fei's eyes darkened, and he took out the 10 experience elixir from the bounty mission. Chapter 12:17. Baron Nasher, spray them to death. Chapter 12:17. Baron Nasher, spray them to death. His health point still had a dozen or so points. They were going to run out soon. The value of the holy source was also seriously insufficient. In this situation, he couldn't even use a single cultivation technique. He needed health point, needed to replenish his holy source value, and the best way was to level up. Ding! Experience points plus 1 million points. Ding! Experience points plus 1 million points. The 1 million experience points of our experience elixir caused Long Fei to be a little surprised. He never thought that the reward would be so generous. 10 experience elixir S were equal to 10 million experience points. Advancing was not a problem. When Long Fei was devouring the experience elixir, Lai Yan sneered and said, swallowing pellets. Wow, I'm so scared. But what's the use? Lai Yan's eyes darkened and shouted, Long Fei, you lowly slave, what qualifications do you have to fight with me? Ha! As soon as he finished, the voices of all the disciples in Holy Moon sect shook, and the few elders beside him also shouted. Their killing intent filled the entire Yuanyang clan. Yang Yu's eyes were blurry with tears. She shook her head and said, Long Fei, don't. What kind of pill could heal a person's body in an instant? Furthermore, he had even been severely injured by the Emperor List powerhouse. Let's take a step back. Even if Long Fei recovered, what use would it be? Was he the opponent of these powerhouse S? Was he even a match for these Holy Moon sect disciples? Was he even a match for these Yuanyang clan disciples? Not at all. Long Fei alone could not do anything. Long Fei did not stop and continued to swallow the pills. Wu Yingliang sneered coldly and invited him to battle. Lord Lai Yan, this dog slave is at Yuanyang clan. He wants me to go out and clean up this dog. I will make him kneel down in front of you, kowtow, and admit his wrongs. In the past, he was afraid of Long Fei, but now that Long Fei was injured to such an extent, was there a need to be afraid of him? Just like Yang Wanu, he had even stepped on her feet. Lai Yin smiled and said, "Go." Wu Yingliang laughed excitedly and said, "Brat, last time you heavily injured me. This time I want you to kneel on the ground and become a dead dog." Buzz. Releasing his high-level profound rank power, Wu Yingliang took a step forward towards Xiang Longfei, his claws locking down his throat as he shouted, "Kneel down!" Long Fei placed the last pill into his mouth and crushed it. Crack! Ding! Player plus 1,000,000 experience points. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, purple level, second pin. Buzz. In that instant, Long Fei's health point was fully recovered, and his holy source's worth was fully recovered. The most critical point was that all the wounds on his body were instantly healed, as if he had been resurrected on the spot. He glared at the other party, his gaze filled with a strong sense of brutality. Then, the power of a purple-ranked level 2 cultivator burst out, completely suppressing Wu Yingliang, who had charged up, and said coldly, "A mere profound ranked trash. You're courting death." The moment Wu Yingliang rushed forward, he flipped his right hand and accurately slapped his face. Pa! A loud explosion resounded. Wu Yingliang laid flat on the ground from the slap, and with a flick of his body, half of his cheeks were ripped apart. The instant his body bounced up, Long Fei's leg that was like a whip suddenly swept down. Bang! After being pressed on the ground by Long Fei, all of his internal organs ruptured, and black blood unceasingly surged out of Wu Yingliang's mouth, not waiting for him to let out a blood-curdling screech. Long Fei's right foot shook, heavily stomping on Wu Yingliang's head. Kacha! Headshot! Blood flowed all over the ground. His entire person had no signs of life, so Long Fei's gaze swept across the entire hall, looking extremely gloomy and cold. One slap, one kick, and one stomp. Profound grade 9 Wu Yingliang, dead. His speed was extremely fast. Everyone's expression changed drastically as they were completely suppressed by Long Fei in the last 3 moves. Long Fei said, "You want to beat the crap out of me? Come and fight now." His voice was ice-cold and extremely arrogant. Lai Yan's gaze tensed up. He did not know why Long Fei's power suddenly increased so much. Why did he do this? At this moment, an old man whispered into Lai Yan's ear. Lai Yan's eyes turned vicious. "Purple rank level 2. Lai Yan sneered. "Dog slave, even if you did break through, what can you do? Today, I'm definitely going to kill you. A drowning dog. Someone, come. Charge." At the same time, a few elders of the Yuanyang clan shouted, "Let's attack together and kill him." Long Fei not dying was a disaster for the Yuanyang clan. With his personality, he would definitely come back for revenge. Furthermore, he should try his best to curry favor with Lai Yan at this time. A few elders rushed forward. Several Holy Moon sect disciples behind Lai Yan also rushed forward. Long Fei moved his right hand and shouted, "Xiu Luo Machete." Boom! A mountain-splitting knife with a skull blade hilt fell into Long Fei's hands, transforming into a blade technique that was used to fight against 4 blades. Shwa! Mountain-splitting knife cleaved the mountain open with one saber strike. When the knife cut down, Long Fei did not even look twice because there was already a corpse behind him. One rushed forward, one died. The 4 slashes of the blood battlefield, combined with the violent and bloodthirsty killing intent coming from Long Fei's body, made him look like a berserk demon, arrogant beyond compare. "Come again. Come with me again." Long Fei raged as he frantically waved the mountain-splitting knife in his hand. However, there was only one Long Fei, and there were hundreds of people here. In the blink of an eye, he was surrounded by a large group of people who were frantically killing people. Let's see how long you can hold on for. Ha ha ha. He was not the least bit worried, walked to Yang Yu's side, and disdainfully said, "Did you see that trash is trash trying to kill thousands of people just by yourself? If this isn't a brain damaged, then what is? Little junior sister is about to die. Rumble, golden cudgel." The mountain-splitting Neef was no longer able to unleash its power. Long Fei moved and summoned his golden cudgel. They continued to slaughter as fast as they could. Long Fei didn't think about anything else at the moment. He only thought of one thing. The golden cudgel in his hands continued to torture and kill. However, more and more people rushed forward. Half a minute later, Long Fei was surrounded once again. At this moment, the disciples of the Holy Moon Sect S and Yuan Yang Clan S had all gathered at the martial arts arena S. There were a few thousand disciples gathered as Long Fei smiled sinisterly. Lai Yin disdainfully said, "Can you still laugh now?" "Humph! Long Fei, you're going to die soon." Long Fei's consumption of Holy Source was just too fast. If a person did not have the support of the Holy Source, then that warrior would be crippled. However, Long Fei suddenly retracted his golden cudgel and stood in place without moving. Everyone was looking at him, but they suddenly stopped as if they were not used to it. Long Fei grinned and laughed coldly. "All of you must die. Abnormal level. Baron Nasher, spray them to death." Chapter 12:18, The Extermination of the Great Dragon Sect. Chapter 12:18, The Extermination of the Great Dragon Sect, Dalong. Dalong of the League of Heroes. Baron Nasher. However, the dragon that Long Fei summoned was not an ordinary dragon, but a level 500 abnormal dragon. This was a super monster that he exploded with his level 5 striking energy value. What dragon? What Baron Nasher? Is this person crazy? Who are you trying to scare? Brat, you're dead today. Kill. Lai Yen also laughed and said, "He's already talking nonsense. Ha ha ha." Long Fei moved. A surge of energy within his body was activated. In that instant, the ground caved in and a deep hole appeared. Long Fei fell down, and before anyone could react, an incomparably savage monster drilled out from the deep hole. 9 heads. It wasn't a 9-headed dragon from the west, nor was it a dragon from the eastern world. It was an independent existence, and it was incomparably ugly. Its entire body was emitting an abnormal strength. What is this? Everyone's expression changed drastically. Monster. Monster! What is this? Lai Yan's complexion also changed. He looked towards the few elders who shook their heads, indicating that they had never seen one before. It was also at this time. The few clan elders moved in the air and pointed their swords at Long Fei. It was Long Fei who had summoned this monster. If he killed Long Fei, then everything would be fine. Long Fei stood on the dragon head in the middle, looked at the people who charged towards him, and coldly laughed. Kill them all for me. Rumble. The idea moved. Abnormal level Baron Nashor started attacking crazily. Its mouth was spewing out the power of all kinds of elements. It could be venom, or flames, or even an ice sword. An elder fell from the sky. His body was corroded, and in just a few seconds, his body turned into a puddle of blood. Not even bone fragments were left behind. The poison's damage was shocking. Then, another elder fell down. His entire body was frozen. The moment he fell from the sky, his body was torn to shreds. Yet another elder was reduced to smithereens. A few powerful elders beside Lai Yan were killed before they could even get close to the Baron Nashor. This was a powerful explosion. Abnormal level. That's abnormal level. Lai Yan's face turned pale. He let out a loud roar and said, "Kill! Everyone attack!" Long Fei looked at the disciples gathered at the bottom of the Baron's foot and laughed coldly. His ideas were connected to the Baron Nashor as he said, "Let's slaughter them crazily. Turn this place into a world of blood. Kill." The Baron Nashor began to attack ferociously. Its speed was similar to when it carried 6 red crosses. It exploded on the surface, and each time was a critical strike. Rumble, rumble, rumble. People kept getting closer, and people kept dying. In just a few minutes, even the death gods were afraid, and death loomed over the entire Yuanyang clan. Within 1,000 meters, other than Long Fei himself, all living things would die. A building is a building. A tree was a tree. If one was hit by it, it would be destroyed. A level 500 monster, slaughtering everything. Come on, hit a drowning dog. Who's the fucking drowning dog now? Long Fei clamored and vented his anger. The killing intent in his heart was unleashed crazily. Only his blood would be able to calm his killing intent, and only death would be able to calm him down. The entire Yuanyang clan started crying. "Master Long Fei, we are innocent. Please spare my life, Master Long Fei. We are the disciples of the Yuanyang clan. Disciple of the Yuanyang clan? Wasn't it very loud in the beginning, and wasn't it trying to kill me? Now you're scared? If you want to live, you can even give up on your ancestors. All of you must die." Long Fei did not let any of them go. He could see everything that happened in front of him. Yang Wano had been stomped on, and no one came out to speak up for him. Everyone wanted to step on him. Since that was the case, why should he let these people go? All must die. Moreover, he needed experience to level up and energy values to become berserk. Then he had to kill. No one can escape. The Baron Nashor massacred frantically. Wherever Long Fei's idea went, he would attack. In just a few short minutes, large groups of disciples fell to the ground. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, purple level, 3. It leveled up. Level 1 in a few minutes. Lousy has the system. Who does Lousy need to be afraid of? Zhan Wushuang, Emperor List. Everyone wait. Long Fei's gaze was like a god. He roared in his heart. A few minutes later, when the Baron Nashor crawled back into the cave, Long Fei dropped to the ground from the high altitude. He landed beside the shivering, fiery blaze. Long Fei laughed coldly. "Who is a drowning dog?" Lai Yan was scared silly. He almost peed his pants and said, "I'm a drowning dog. I'm a drowning dog." Plop. Lai Yin heavily knelt on the ground and kowtowed to Long Fei. Please spare my life, spare my life. I will never provoke you again. Absolutely not. Yang Yu is yours, I definitely won't Peng. Little junior sister, please beg for me. Please. Lai Yin was extremely scared. If it was the last time he'd been just a little scared, then now his tongue trembled in fear. Seeing that Long Fei was even more afraid than the god of death, Lai Yin said, Long Fei, as long as you spare me, I swear to God, the Myriad Alliance will not find trouble with you. Absolutely not. Long Fei said, Then I'm really sorry if the Myriad Alliance does not find trouble with me. I will find trouble with him. The Myriad Alliance has angered me. I'll definitely overturn him. I'll start with you. Chapter 1219, Special Holy Artifact, 3 Great Rings. Chapter 1219, Special Holy Artifact. 3 Great Rings, even the gods would die if they came. So what if they are? Ding. Congratulations to player. Long Fei for killing, Lai Yin for obtaining 2,000 experience, 300 holy source, and 10 energy values. Congratulations to player. Long Fei for obtaining the Sea King Ring. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Glazed Divine Bead. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Immortal Spirit Grass. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 3 Xian Crystal. Congratulations, player. Fiery Blaze was not a boss. However, he had dropped many things, and they were all not ordinary items. Some of them were extremely high quality, and when they reached the Holy Artifact level, the reason why they were dropped was because of his identity. He was the official disciple of the Myriad Alliance. If one was so rich that they could flow with oil, it was natural that they would explode. Long Fei was secretly shocked, but this was just an appetizer. The main event was yet to come, and striking energy value had yet to explode. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for using the 3-rate rampage. Please choose. This time, Long Fei did not hesitate and directly said, Gaming series. He was a game expert and was the most familiar with the game amongst the series. As long as he could drop the holy artifact in the game, nothing would be a problem. He could easily control it. Long Fei made a choice. The system was silent for half a second before it made a notification sound. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the special storage ring. What's going on? Special ring bag. Gudong! Long Fei swallowed his saliva. I know that there are special rings, and every game has a special ring. Paralyzed ring S must be there, such as the Spirit Spring ring, such as the Protective ring, or something like that. Resurrection ring, Healing ring, Flame ring. These are all special rings. What's a special ring bag? Could it be that there are 3 holy artifact S inside? Gudong! Long Fei once again swallowed his breath. Phew! My little heart can't take it. The idea moved. Long Fei clicked it and opened the special ring packet. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining body protection ring. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining paralyzed ring. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining resurrection ring. Stunned. He was completely stupefied. Long Fei's eyes were lifeless. He was so shocked that he looked like an idiot. Both his eyes were unmoving as he muttered in his heart, Damn it, damn it, damn it. He had already found the word to describe his current mood. He was completely stupefied. What is a paralyzed ring? Long Fei's idea also entered the center of the space ring. In the empty space inside the space ring, there was only one thing, an item Long Fei had never seen before. However, at this moment, without waiting for Long Fei to see its attributes, the system suddenly chimed in. Ding! Activating the activation condition for the second stage of the main artifact. Do you want to absorb the ancient spiritual treasure? Huh. The condition to activate the second stage of main artifact's power became anxious. Golden Cudgel looked like it was evolved at the second level, but what was its power? Longface still did not know. He only knew that it was possible that the Golden Cudgel could hide a monkey, and that this monkey could possibly be the power of the second layer. Longfei was not clear. Now that the activation criteria was revealed, Longfei was extremely excited in his heart. Absorb. Ding. Energy filling. The first layer is complete. Ancient spiritual treasure. It means that he needs ancient spiritual treasure to fill his body with energy. Zhan Wushuang's defensive main artifact is 1, and this golden cudgel of his is the same. Longfei clenched his fists. Dragon coffin-s are only the energy released by the god's martial continent, and the level of the domain treasure is very low, so it is unable to lock onto Zhan Wushuang, who possesses the defense main artifact. If the second stage is activated, then... Longfei laughed sinisterly. Zhan Wushuang, wash your ass and wait for me. Ha ha ha. If it was a competition between main artifact of the same strength, what would the situation be? This time, I don't believe I can't kill you. Longfei's gaze tensed up, and he immediately said, Let's go. Bounty Gate. Failure of the mission. This is the shame of the Bounty Gate. This is the first time. Elder, it's because he's a junior master of the Hell Gate. His power has awakened, and he also has a fire unicorn. That's why we were caught unprepared. Otherwise, don't give me any reasons. Failure is failure, no matter how many reasons you have. You have failed. Yes, sir. The hall was silent for a moment. Following that, a voice sounded in the hall. The bounty has been raised tenfold. Longfei must die. In the main hall, everyone kneeled down and said, As you command. This was the voice of the vice sect leader, the top 10 super powerhouse of Bounty Gate strength, and also ranked on the Emperor's ranking. The sound disappeared. The elder stood up, and the space between his eyebrows twitched. The bounty was increased tenfold in just a few days. 100,000 Xian crystal. This is the first time in history. Elder, leave this mission to me. I will definitely bring back his head. 100,000 Xian crystal. Do you want to take it all on your own? The elder was silent for a moment, then said, If you do not move, immediately investigate everything about Longfei, his current position, cultivation strength, and the power awakened in his body. This time, we definitely can't fail again. He absolutely could not tolerate failure, no matter who the other party was. Since the Bounty Gate has accepted this mission, no matter how difficult it is, he will definitely complete it. In another place, Heavenly Alliance City, the location of the Myriad Alliance School. Does Hell Gate want to start a war with my 10,000 Alliance? Alliance Master, no matter how much trouble Lai Yin has, he is still a member of our 1,000 Alliance sect. Although Longfei is not a member of the Hell Gate, but he killed Lai Yin, so it should not be so simple. Since he is no longer a member of the Hell Gate, then we do not need to worry about anything else and must go all out to kill him. Half a month later, Longfei and his group of 4 walked out of the Yuan Yang clan's territory and entered the domain of the Holy Moon sect. The Holy Moon sect was much more powerful than the Yuan Yang clan. On the way to Holy Moon sect, he passed by a place called Lianyu Castle. Ha ha ha. This is great. This time we've robbed the town's auction house, so we won't have to worry about food and drinks for half a year. Li Yuanba was grinning from ear to ear, looking at the various spirit treasures. He was extremely happy. The heavenly spirit gave him a disdainful look, saying, Brother Yuanba, just that little bit of luck. What good stuff does the town's auction house have? If you want to make it big, then do it. I am preparing to rob Lian Yu Castle's auction house. I heard that there is a big auction going on. Chapter 12:21 Nine Yang Divine Technique. Chapter 12:21 Nine Yang Divine Technique. Lian Yu Castle, a very important city next to the Holy Moon sect. The city is a fortress. It could lead to the great desolate mountain ranges, but it could also lead to the Ghost's Cave, which was also one of the main routes leading to the Myriad Alliance sect. The Lian Yu Castle was also the main city of the Holy Moon sect, and its disciples could be seen on the streets. Their might was extraordinary, and they were full of admiration and respect wherever they went. They absolutely did not dare to be the slightest bit slow. If only I could also become a disciple of the Holy Moon sect. When I grow up, I want to become a powerhouse of the Holy Moon sect. A 3- or 2-year-old child had a face full of envy for a young martial artist. Their eyes were burning with passion. It was different from usual during this period of time. The number of disciples in Lian Yu Castle had doubled, and there were also many elders. Other than these, there were also wealthy merchants, various rogue cultivators, and people in charge of high-ranking families. This was because there were only 3 days left before a large-scale auction. They were all rare treasures, spiritual pills, and miraculous medicines, as well as various secret world tunnels, ancient scrolls, and some mysterious and special items. Every one of them had a strong allure. This year's Lian Yu Castle auction could be said to be a strong gathering. The Lian Yu Castle was bustling with noise and excitement. So lively. It's much more lively than the Water City. Was slightly shocked when he walked into the Lian Yu Castle. Whether it was in terms of size or number of people, they were all over 10 times more than the number of people in the Water City. Young Wanu slightly said, Holy Moon sect is the #1 city left connected to the great desolate mountain range, right connected to the Ghost's Cave, and is even one of the main roads leading to the Myriad Alliance sect. Naturally, it's extremely lively. Long Fei asked, How far is this place from Holy Moon sect? Young Wanu said slightly, Lian Yu Castle and Holy Moon sect are still quite a distance away. If we go there, I think it'll take around a month. That far? Long Fei's heart trembled as he thought to himself, it would be great if there was a plane in this world. Fire Unicorn could only sit on 2 people at most. For normal paths, Long Fei could only use his feet to walk, and this half a month he almost broke his skin. Mecha series? Next time, should I choose a mech series? It would be nice if I could get a flying machine. Long Fei muttered. At the same time, the city gate was now covered with auction brochures. There are only 3 days left before the auction. I heard that there are a lot of good things this time. I have an uncle who works in the auction. Brat, there's a path to heaven, yet you refuse to walk it. Hell has no doors, yet you came to throw your weight around. This time, you're dead. Ha ha. In front of us is the Lian Yu Castle. Tianling, when are you going to make your move? The Black Knife asked. He wasn't sure. This was because Lian Yu Castle was not a small village or small town. The auction this time was even more huge, and there were definitely a lot of powerhouse among the buyers. Their defensive measures must be very strict. The fat Mention looked wretched as he said, Uncle Black Knife, don't worry. After we finish snatching the items out from this auction, we won't have to worry about the rest of our lives. Snatch? We have to rob them. Descending Dragons looked excited. Aoya held her sword with both hands with a calm expression. She didn't express any opinions. As the only female in the 8 King Kong, she listened to them in many ways, cutting them off and settling their troubles. As for other matters, she rarely participated in them. Lin Yuxing slightly said, To rob you, you must have a plan as well, right? What is our plan? Everyone looked at the Sky Soul. Even though he was the lowest level of heavenly spirit, he was also the most devilish. The heavenly spirit laughed. The way to do it is, it's very simple. Yuan Ba, Fat Mention, Aoya, Descending Dragon. The four of you think of ways to sneak into the auction house and become its staff. The remaining four of us will make ourselves look like buyers. We don't need to take anything else but the last giant treasure volume question of God. The Holy Spirit had thought of everything. When the time comes, we'll cause chaos. You guys can do it. Take it and run. Who can catch up? Ha ha ha. The celestial spirit smiled. However, is it that simple? Not long after, the 8 King Kong entered the city. The 8 of them were like 8 bandits. Of course, they are bandits coming down to cause trouble. To enter the auction house, one must have an invitation card. The number of invitation card was limited, and a portion of it was an invitation from the Xiao Yao Business Alliance. Someone with noble status could obtain them for free. So this kind of invitation card was of a very high level. There was a VIP box, and the seats were in front. There were also a few invitation cards that were sold as normal invitation card. In less than half a day, the Xiao Yao Business Alliance's auction house was emptied. At the entrance of Xiao Yao Business Alliance branch, I'm here to buy the invitation card. How did you do your business? The invitation card was sold out so quickly. Do you know who I am? There were a lot of people gathered at the gate. They had all come for the invitation card, and now every single one of them on the black market was priced at 100,000 gold. It could be said to be ridiculously expensive. One of the stewards of the Xiao Yao Business Alliance had a smile on his face. No matter what ugly words he heard, he had a smile on his face and said, "Everyone, I'm sorry. Bullshit. How can it not be? You must have kept quite a few invitation card. Even fools would know. Don't fool us. I want one. The price is up to you." Long Fei and the other 3 stood at the back of the crowd, looking at the packed crowd. They said, "Looks like it's really hard to find invitation cards that are worth 1,000 gold." At this moment, a palanquin quickly flew over from the street. The 4 of them moved as if they were flying. Their steps were as if they were flying on the ground, not even touching the ground. The cultivation of these 4 people were extraordinary. His strength is at least at the spiritual level. Those who lift their feet are all at the spirit level. Then the person sitting inside must be even stronger. Wherever the 4 of them went, a powerful pressuring aura would form and directly push away the people on both sides of the street. "Get out of my way. Buzz. Buzz." Yang Yu just happened to be very close to the proud son, and a strong pressure pressed down on her. Her face instantly turned pale white and revealed a painful expression. Long Fei felt pain in his heart, and between his eyebrows he was enraged. Both legs moved. Wind God leg. Bang, bang, bang. A series of explosions occurred as he sent out a kick. The body of one of the sedan bearers tilted slightly as his eyes burned with anger. He hollered, "Insolent child, you're courting death." His aura exploded. Boom. A strong chi formed a pressure. The pressure of the spirit-level realm formed a strong impact that directly forced Xiang Longfei to submit. Everyone's face changed. This person is dead, for sure. A proud son of the young master of martial prowess mansion dares to go against us. Is this man a retard? He's simply courting death. At this moment, the King Bull's blood in Neo Dashin's body exploded and blocked the attack. Demon Ox King Phantom Shadow appeared. Buzz. It directly blocked the shockwave of his aura. However, the pressure of the other 3 people was released at the same time, pressing down heavily on him. Puchi, Yang Yu was simply unable to endure it any longer as he spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. His entire body was trembling, and the fury in his heart grew even stronger. Suck star over China. Boom, boom, boom. One of the carriage bearers did not expect Long Fei to possess such a strong power of the blood vein. Before he could defend, the power in his body was quickly absorbed. In the end, he struggled with all his might to escape. After absorbing the energy, he had to release it. With a flip of his body, the power in his palm directly exploded outwards. Rumble! At this moment, the other 3 sedan bearers were sent flying. The proud sun landed heavily on the ground, motionless. The surrounding people were all dumbfounded. The 4 carriage bearers' faces were filled with anger as they stared at Long Fei and bellowed, "You're courting death." With the 4 of them retracted their pressure, Yang Yu's face regained its rosiness. Long Fei stared at the 4 of them and said, "You want to die? Then come at me." Long Fei was really not afraid of anything. So what if he was in the spirit level realm? The 4 of them flew into a rage and charged at the same time. At this moment, the insolence on top of the unfilial sun lifted up slightly just in time to see Yang Yu. Amongst the unrestrained sun, his eyes flashed with a trace of amazement, and he said faintly, "Wait!" The 4 of them immediately stopped. A young man stepped out of his pride. The 4 sedan bearers immediately knelt on the ground, not daring to move. The man didn't even look at the 4 of them, but directly walked to Yang Yu's side and directly grabbed onto Yang Yu's small hand, revealing a gentle smile. "Beautiful girl, are you injured?" Chapter 12:23. Paralysis. Chapter 12:23. Paralysis. Yang Yu retracted his hand and slightly moved his body, saying, "I'm fine." She subconsciously got closer to Xiang Longfei. This was because Long Fei could give her a sense of security. Long Fei said, "It's not good to just barge into and injure people." The man raised his eyes slightly, and his expression almost changed in an instant. He sneered and said, "Who do you think you are, daring to criticize me?" The 4 servants immediately ran over. Long Fei frowned and immediately pulled his hand. The man looked at Yang Yu again and said directly, "From this moment onwards, you will be this young master's woman, and no one will dare to do anything to you." Very wild. It was extremely savage. Moreover, he was very confident. In Lian Yu Castle, no one dared to reject him. And in terms of women, he was even more confident. With his handsome appearance, outstanding talent, and power, all of the women here in Lian Yu Castle wished to marry him, because he was the king. However, Yang Yu said angrily, "I do not know you, and will not become your woman." "Huh." Young master of martial prowess mansion's eyes darkened. His face became displeased. "No one dares to reject the woman that my young master of martial prowess mansion has set his eyes on. You are the first. He has a personality. I like him. So, you must be my woman." Young master of martial prowess mansion laughed even more complacently. He was not angry because of Yang Yu's rejection, but was instead happy. Now that he finally met a woman who dared to oppose him, he naturally felt a sense of novelty. Nyo Dashin bellowed, "Brat, is there something wrong with your head? He's my boss's woman. Didn't you understand when he said he didn't like you? Who do you think you are?" The corner of young master of martial prowess mansion's eyes shot a cold glance as he said disdainfully. Nyo Dashin said angrily, "I am your ancestor." "How dare you?" The 4 sedan bearers shouted at the same time. The 4 of them attacked Nyo Dashin at the same time. Nyo Dashin was not afraid and shouted, "Is the spirit level powerful? Do I have to be afraid of you?" He stepped forward to welcome them. At this moment, an old man walked out from the entrance of Xiao Yao Business Alliance. In a second, the old man was still far away, but in the next second, he landed beside young master of martial prowess mansion. While they were talking, his eyes glanced at Long Fei. There was something very special in his eyes. Young master of martial prowess mansion raised his hand. Stop! The four of them stopped. Young master of martial prowess mansion slightly said, Elder Chu, I will give you face today, but I want this guy to apologize to me. In Lianyu Castle, no one dares to contradict my proud son. Niu Dashin said angrily, the ones apologizing should be you guys running rampant on the streets. You think this is your home? Young master of martial prowess mansion's gaze turned cold. Do you think you have the right to speak here? A strong sense of pressure could be seen in his eyes. Niu Dashin's body suddenly sank, his face turned white, and became unusually ugly. Long Fei was furious. With a sudden movement of his body, the idea connected to the paralyzed ring, and threw it out in one move. Suddenly, Chu Changkong's footsteps moved, and used one hand to block Long Fei's attack. When Long Fei's attack was blocked, both of Chu Changkong's eyes sunk, and his entire body sunk into a paralyzed state. It was as if his body was petrified, and he felt very uncomfortable. The young master of martial prowess mansion's eyes revealed a vicious light as he disdainfully sneered, You're courting death. Boom. With one palm pressed against Long Fei's chest, a powerful force emerged from the center of his palm. Bam! With a lock on the center of Long Fei's brows, the idea activated the protective ring, and his health point was not threatened in the slightest. His holy source value dropped by more than 10,000 points. However, Long Fei's body did not move. Since his health point had not been harmed, his body would not feel any pain, and naturally, he would not retreat half a step. Young master of martial prowess mansion's expression secretly changed as he thought in his heart, What kind of defense is this? Long Fei moved his right fist and attacked again. Chu Changkong was paralyzed for half a second. His body recovered and blocked once again, saying, Stop. In that instant, his body once again fell into a state of paralysis. After triggering the paralyzing effect with 2 consecutive blows, his whole body felt unspeakably uncomfortable. Young master of martial prowess mansion was also furious. You still dare to be arrogant? I want to see how long you can hold on for. Another heavy palm struck. Rumble! The powerful force exploded in Long Fei's chest, causing over 30,000 holy source points to disappear. This kind of damage was simply a critical hit. If it were the consumption of health point, Long Fei would already be dead. Young master of martial prowess mansion's cultivation was very strong. However, when he encountered the perverted Long Fei, who possessed 3 special rings, his strength was like a clay ox entering the ocean, and there was no reaction at all. Long Fei stood in place unharmed. The surrounding people were all dumbfounded. His strength clearly hit his body, but why is there no reaction at all? What the hell? Illusion, it's all an illusion. The existence of the young master of martial prowess mansion killing that brat instantly. Yang Wana was also dumbfounded. Compared to when he was in the Yuan Yang clan, Long Fei had become stronger again. Long Fei himself was also secretly excited. 3 special rings. Awesome. 1 move, numbing the air. 1 move, protecting the body. Even if he died, there were still resurrection ring-s. However, Chu Changkong blocked 2 of his moves consecutively. He was a little unhappy and said, Try blocking me again? Chu Changkong whined in his heart and thought to himself, Do you think I'm willing to block this? He no longer dared to use his arm to block Long Fei's attack. That feeling of being paralyzed was too uncomfortable, but this was the main entrance of the Xiao Yao Business Alliance, and there were still a few more days until the auction. And then Chu Changkong's strength suddenly moved. forming two strong suppressive forces that directly blew Long Fei and young master of martial prowess Mansion away. At the same time, he shouted loudly, "Calm down, both of you. If you dare to attack again, don't blame me for being impolite." Buzz buzz. Two powerful energies directly blew Long Fei and young master of martial prowess Mansion away. This Chu Chongkong's cultivation. It's not simple. The last thought of the auction had completely disappeared from Long Fei's mind. Young master of martial prowess Mansion frowned and said solemnly, "Chu Chongkong, do you dare to attack me?" Chu Chongkong recovered his smile and said, "Young master of martial prowess Mansion, please give me some face. Your father has already told you about coming to Xiao Yao Business Alliance. This is a VIP invitation card." Chu Chongkong took out a golden invitation card from his bosom. This kind of invitation card only qualified to be an important guest. Even the master of the Lian Yu Castle didn't have the qualifications. Young master of martial prowess Mansion took over the invitation card, raised the golden invitation card, and showed off his might in front of Long Fei, then said, "Brat, did you see that only important distinguished guests have the right to obtain the golden invitation card? Even you lowly people are worthy to fight against me. You don't know how to judge." Invitation card were divided into three types. The first kind of ordinary invitation card. These kinds of invitation card were basically prepared for some aristocrats, city lords, and some ordinary rogue cultivator powerhouses. The second type was this kind of golden invitation card. Someone who could obtain this kind of invitation card was definitely not a simple person. Also, there was also another type of invitation card, the diamond invitation card. The number of invitations were extremely small and extremely precious, or perhaps only the overlords of a region had the right to receive one. Young master of martial prowess Mansion laughed complacently. "Kid, do you have one?" Long Fei was neither in a hurry nor impatient. He asked, "Elder, how can I obtain this kind of invitation card?" Chapter 12:24. Old Lord Taishang come to alchemy. Chapter 12:24. Old Lord Taishang come to alchemy. Ha ha ha. As soon as Long Fei finished speaking, the young master of martial prowess Mansion immediately laughed out loud. The surrounding people also began to loudly laugh at him. "Country bumpkin, you're thinking too much, aren't you? Is this person here to be funny? How can I obtain invitation card S? Who do you think you are? Even the Lian Yu Castle's city lord doesn't have the qualifications. Do you think you're qualified to have an invitation card at this level? You don't even have the qualifications to be a normal invitation card." Yi Zichen laughed nonstop. Just from Long Fei's clothes, one could tell that Long Fei was just an ordinary warrior. For others, perhaps, however, was special to him. He received Long Fei's attacks twice and fell into a coma twice. If it was him against Long Fei, I'm afraid that kind of paralysis was very special. It was as though he couldn't resist. Although the time was only half a second, it was more than enough to kill a person in half a second. Chu Chongkong slightly said, "To have such a golden invitation card, one must have a special identity, or perhaps give a high-grade spirit treasure to an esteemed guest in the Xiao Yao Business Alliance auction house. Little brother, you should leave." He tried to dissuade her. No matter what kind of special things Long Fei had, if he fought with the young master of martial prowess Mansion, Long Fei would definitely still lose. The difference in cultivation level was too great. As long as they could avoid Long Fei's attacks, they could avoid the paralyzed ring. Yang Yu gently pulled at the corner of Long Fei's clothes and said, "Let's go." Niu Dashan also did not say anything and said, "Boss, let's leave." They didn't have any special identities. A high-grade spirit treasure auction? They were even less so. Young master of martial prowess Mansion sneered. "Country bumpkin, scram to the side. Don't let me see you again. If not, I will beat you up every time I see you." Scram. What kind of person is this? How embarrassing. Long Fei exhaled lightly, then turned and left. Young master of martial prowess mansion laughed out loud. Ha ha ha. Country bumpkin, what kind of thing is this? Fight with me? It's more like seeking death. Beauty, be my woman. Didn't you want to go to the auction? I'll bring you in. What kind of future do you have by following this country bumpkin? Yang Yu held onto Long Fei's arm tightly. Long Fei suddenly stopped and clenched his fists. And then his fists slowly loosened and he walked out of the crowd. A burst of mocking laughter came from behind him. He wants to obtain the golden invitation card. He must be crazy. A country bumpkin is a golden invitation card owned by this kind of person. Yang Wana was also lost in thought as he muttered, I also haven't heard that Hell Gate's junior master knows how to use alchemy. What did you say? Alchemy? Ha ha ha. Just his alchemy? Aren't you afraid of laughing to death? Young master of martial prowess mansion laughed complacently when he received the news of Long Fei's alchemy. And then he looked at Chu Changkong and laughed out loud. Elder Chu, is your Xiao Yao business alliance trying to collect the trash pills? Ha ha ha. Chu Changkong laughed along with him and thought, why doesn't this brat listen to advice? He thought that Long Fei would leave, but he didn't expect that Long Fei actually wanted alchemy. It was impossible for a grade 9 pellet to enter the auction house. Even if he, a young warrior with decent alchemy, could refine a deity tier pellet, right? Even if it was a divine level pill, it was still far from qualified to exchange for the golden invitation card. One of the servants asked, Young master, should we make a move on them? Young master of martial prowess mansion laughed. Don't worry, isn't that country bumpkin unconvinced? We'll wait here and see what kind of pills he can refine. Ha ha ha. He wanted to see Long Fei become a joke. Furthermore, he wanted to ruthlessly step on Long Fei in front of Yang Yu so that he could display his methods and conquer women. Don't even think about escaping from the woman I've taken a fancy to. Humph. In another place, in the inn, Long Fei took out the spirit grass he had gathered from the Yuan Yang mountain range. The idea moved and said, Old Lord Taishang, please come out. The idea controlled the power of Old Lord Taishang's possession and activated it. At this moment, Long Fei's gaze instantly changed, his body suffused with traces of the golden light that only God could give out. The young master of martial prowess mansion asked with interest, Does your Xiao Yao business alliance accept waste powder? Ha ha ha. Chu Changkong smiled apologetically and said, Young master of martial prowess mansion, what kind of pill he concocts has nothing to do with us. There are still a lot of things that I haven't finished with the auction, so I won't accompany you. Elder Chu stood up and said, Come, greet young master of martial prowess mansion. He could not understand why Long Fei wanted his alchemy to slap young master of martial prowess mansion's face again. This idea was very childish. Who is the young master of martial prowess mansion? In the Lian Yu castle, even the Xiao Yao business alliance did not dare to easily offend them. In the entire Lian Yu castle, there were very few who dared to easily offend them. Long Fei was an outsider. What kind of power could he possibly have? Not a dragon, but a river? Chu Changkong walked out of the hall, his brows locked into a frown. He sighed lightly and muttered to himself, If you want to come and throw your life away, that is your choice. I have already given you a reminder. Finished. Chu Changkong was busy with his own things. Coincidentally, the matter regarding the spirit pill auction was handled by him. He had a few matters he had not dealt with yet, and did not wish to participate in the farce between Long Fei and young master of martial prowess mansion. In his view, Long Fei had come to throw his life away. Chu Changkong walked towards the backyard to see an even more important guest. Young master of martial prowess mansion drank his tea and laughed coldly. Not long later, outside the Xiaoyao Business Alliance. Why is he here again? Looking for discomfort. Kid, do you think your life is too long? You still dare to come? With Elder Chu helping you out, you think you can escape this time? He really doesn't know his place. Many people continued to mock Long Fei. Niu Dashan was unwilling to accept this. Long Fei held him back and said, "Some people can only do this for their entire lives, laughing at others. In fact, they have always been the target of people's laughter." Kid, what did you say? Humph, don't be too arrogant. You really think too highly of yourself? You dare to be arrogant with your purple realm? Why don't you take a look at this place? Many people clamored again. Long Fei still did not pay attention to him and directly ignored him. Long Fei walked up to the front door of the Xiaoyao Business Alliance and said, "I will have to trouble you to inform me that I have something to auction." The Xiaoyao Business Alliance's guard was quite polite and reminded him, "Little brother, Xiaoyao Business Alliance's auction is of a very high grade. Normal things simply cannot enter the auction house." Long Fei nodded and said, "I know." It was also at this time. Chapter 1226, Shocking Pills. Chapter 1226. Shocking Pills. Long Fei took out a small porcelain bottle that was filled with pills and said to the guard, "This is a pill I refined. I will have to trouble you to inform me." "Thank you." The guard took it and walked into Xiaoyao Business Alliance without saying anything. Grandmaster Tsang, have you not succeeded yet?" Chu Chongkong looked at the old man in front of him and asked respectfully. Azure Dragon, the #1 alchemy master of the Tsanglan Emperor, also known as the Chief Alchemy Grandmaster of the Xiaoyao Business Alliance. He had concocted countless pills, all sorts of holy ply, and all kinds of new medicine were obtained from his hands. In this auction, he had the responsibility of taking care of Xiaoyao Business Alliance's alchemy. He wanted to refine a few pellets that had unique attributes so as to increase the influence of the Xiaoyao Business Alliance and increase the share of the pellet market. The Azure Dragon shook his head gently and said, "Just a bit more, and I wouldn't be able to break through no matter what. Seems like this is where my limit is. Elder Chu, I'm really sorry that I wasn't able to concoct the pill you all wanted." The Azure Dragon also felt very embarrassed. After all, he had wasted a large number of high-level spirit grass. The value of these spirit grass were shockingly high. Chu Chongkong immediately replied, "What kind of words are you saying? Master Tsang?" Developing a new medicine would normally consume a spirit grass, but there were still 3 days before the auction, so this auction was extremely important to Chu Chongkong. If the pills were to be auctioned well, then his future path in Xiaoyao Business Alliance would be much easier. If he failed this time, his current position might not be preserved. The Azure Dragon said, "There are still 3 days. I will do my best. If it really doesn't work, I will use the mysterious god pill as a substitute." Chu Chongkong smiled faintly and said, "Then I'll have to thank Master Tsang." At this moment, there was a commotion outside the door. Who does he think he is, giving everything to Elder Chu? He just wants to be a bumpkin of the invitation cardess. What pills can he concoct? How can he concoct pills? Yes. Manager Liu was right. I won't dare to do it again. It was also at this time. Chu Chongkong opened the door and asked, "What happened?" "What is it?" Lu Fu immediately said, "Elder, a country bumpkin just brought a pill and said that he would be auctioning it off. This fellow did not know anything and directly sent it in. I will go out to send him off." Chu Chongkong did not take it seriously. Just as he was about to enter the house, he paused for a moment and asked, "Is it that brat who went against the young master of Martial Prowess Mansion?" The guard said, "It's him. The two are making a bet right now." "Bet? Chu Chongkong was startled and said, "What do we bet?" The guard said that Brad is betting on this pill being able to enter the auction. Young master of martial prowess mansion is betting on himself not being able to. Lu Fu said, "This kid will lose for sure. If he wants to enter the Xiao Yao Business Alliance for a pill, even God-level pills will be hard to obtain. How can that country bumpkin have a God-level pill?" Chu Chongkong looked at Lu Fu coldly. Lu Fu immediately lowered his head and didn't dare to say another word. Chu Chongkong also thought so in his heart. The head alchemy master of the Xiao Yao Business Alliance, San Long, was one of the peak alchemists of the Chaos Realm, and the medicinal pellets that the Xiao Yao Business Alliance auctioned were always pellets of high quality that the Xiao Yao Business Alliance himself developed. Using the auction as a promotion window, ordinary pellets of the divine level would not even be able to catch his eye. There was silence for half a second. Chu Chongkong did not know why, but he suddenly said, "Bring the pills in for me to see." Lu Fu was stunned. This was the first time. "Didn't you hear me?" Chu Chongkong repeated. Lu Fu reacted quickly and immediately brought the bottle forward. "Elder, I just checked the pill and found no energy waves coming from it. It should be a useless pill." Chu Chongkong frowned. After receiving the small porcelain bottle, he turned and entered the room. He did not look, because, since Lu Fu had already appraised it, then this pill was most likely a waste powder. It was just that. Chu Chongfeng secretly felt regret for Long Fei, and thought to himself, "I will buy you some time. I hope you can escape." He was in no hurry to announce the results, because he wanted to give Long Fei time to escape. Time passed minute by minute. Chu Chongkong sat in his room and waited. He did not open the small porcelain bottle on the table. 2 hours passed in the blink of an eye. While he did not give his answer, a commotion broke out at the entrance of the Xiao Yao Business Alliance. "Kid, why aren't you admitting defeat?" Young master of martial prowess mansion laughed complacently. "It's been 2 hours. If the pills you refined could have entered the auction, Chu Chongkong would have come out to personally see you a long time ago. You would have waited here for me?" "Exactly. I think the pills are too useless. I'll just throw them away and ignore you. You know about alchemy? It's more like fart. Admit defeat." It was a little long, which was way beyond Long Fei's expectations. Logically speaking, old Lord Taishang should not have made any errors in concocting the pill, but why was there no response? Could it really not enter their eyes? At this moment, Long Fei's heart also had 15 buckets that went up and down. Niu Dashan retorted loudly, "The medicinal pellets concocted by my boss are not ordinary. They definitely receive a lot of attention. They are researching how to set a price for it. What are you guys arguing about?" "Ha ha ha. Big guy, you're too beautiful. You're thinking too beautifully. You are just a retard. Yet you received such great attention. I think that you are just treating it as a useless pill. And the pills he concocts are just an insult to the Xiao Yao Business Alliance. It would be great if he didn't break your legs. And you still wanted to reply? That's impossible." There was an argument outside the hall. Young master of martial prowess mansion looked at Yang Yu and said, "Beautiful girl, didn't you want to go to the auction venue? Let me bring you there. Do you see the golden invitation card in my hands? This is the first row. Only someone like me, with a precious identity, can sit here. If you follow a country bumpkin, you can only watch from outside the auction." Yang Yu's brows tightened and completely ignored them. Young master of martial prowess mansion also lost his patience a little as he stared at Long Fei and said, "Country bumpkin, how much longer do you have to wait? My time is more precious than yours. I don't want to continue waiting with you country bumpkins." Without waiting for Long Fei to speak, the young master of martial prowess mansion continued, Just wait 10 more minutes. Once the 10 minutes have passed, we'll consider it your loss. When the time comes. Hee, young master of martial prowess mansion stared at Yang Yu's chest and laughed obscenely, saying, "You can avoid slapping yourself in the face, but she has to spend the night with me." Yang Wana shouted. "Say it again," young master of martial prowess mansion laughed, and said, "If you don't accompany me for one night, none of you should even think of leaving Lian Yu Castle. Otherwise, you will have won this gambling match." Ha ha ha. Yang Yu's body trembled slightly as she looked at Xiang Longfei. Longfei's gaze was dark, and the anger in his heart was faintly stirred. Boom. An explosion sounded in the pill room. Chu Chongkong was suddenly awakened, and then let out a long sigh. Another failure. San Long also walked out from the pill room with a depressed look on his face. It seems this is really my limit. Following that, he looked at the small porcelain bottle on the table and asked, "What is this?" Chu Chongkong replied, "A pill for auction sent by one person." The Azure Dragon picked up the small porcelain bottle and looked at it. Then his entire body froze. Chapter 12:27. Master. Chapter 12:27. Master at the entrance of Xiao Yao Business Alliance. Young master of martial prowess mansion laughed proudly. "Country bumpkin, it's time." "You lost. Are you fanning yourself? Or should I do it?" Young master of martial prowess mansion was extremely proud. He looked at Yang Yu and swallowed his saliva. The four spirit level sedan bearers beside him all stepped forward. He really wasn't a match for these four. Nyo Dashan blocked and shouted, "Xiao Yao Business Alliance has yet to announce the results. What you announced does not count." Young master of martial prowess mansion laughed disdainfully. "It's just testing a pill, not to mention 2 hours. Even if it's just 2 minutes, it's already enough. The reason Xiao Yao Business Alliance did not give the result is because they do not care to announce it. Are you going to fan me? If you don't fan, then I'll do it for you." Young master of martial prowess mansion's aura moved. Long Fei frowned. Just as young master of martial prowess mansion had said, 2 minutes was enough for a single pill to show its quality. If the results were not announced for more than 2 hours, what did it mean? How did this happen? This is a pill refined by old Lord Taishang. Did the system scam lousy? Long Fei's heart sank. At this time, his idea moved, and the 3 special rings began to circulate as he said in a low voice, "Uncle Yang, protect Yang Yu well later on. We will obstruct them. You guys find a chance to escape." At this time, Long Fei had no other choice. "Let her accompany me for the night. I will let you leave this place safely." Young master of martial prowess mansion said, with a lewd smile. Long Fei said angrily, "I will accompany your 18 generations of ancestors." The young master of martial prowess mansion's eyes turned sinister as he said, "If you can't see the coffin, don't cry. Make your move." As soon as he finished, the auras of the 4 sedan bearers instantly exploded, and they came crashing over. The surrounding crowd quickly pushed their way, afraid that they would be caught in the crossfire. Will there be a good ending if we go against the young master of martial prowess mansion? These people are simply courting death. Ha ha ha. There's something to see. Just as they were in a panic, a wave of people rushed out from Xiao Yao Business Alliance. Boom, boom, boom. They were all the guards of Xiao Yao Business Alliance. Elites. and all of them were at least spirit level. They quickly rushed out and surrounded Long Fei and young master of martial prowess mansion. Young master of martial prowess mansion's face sank as he coldly asked, "Chu Chongkong, what do you mean by this?" Chu Chongkong did not pay any attention to the young master of martial prowess mansion. Instead, he looked at Long Fei with an expression of excitement that was difficult to conceal. "Did you refine that medicinal pellet just now?" Long Fei nodded and said, "I refined it." Young master of martial prowess mansion laughed coldly. "Brat, from the looks of it, you have angered Xiao Yao Business Alliance. You might not know this, but Xiao Yao Business Alliance possesses the top alchemy of the Chaos Realm. So that pellet of yours is an insult to Xiao Yao Business Alliance. You should prepare to die." The surrounding crowd was the same, all revealing faces full of mockery. Forging an axe at the door. "Did you smash your own foot with that axe?" "Auction for Xiao Yao Business Alliance's pellets. Don't you think he knows that Xiao Yao Business Alliance's pellets are always pellets that they refine themselves? He's simply courting death." Niu Dashan approached Long Fei. The blood vein energy on his body surged, and he became cautious. As long as they started fighting, he would be the first one to rush up. The atmosphere became even more tense. Long Fei also could not understand what Chu Chongkong was doing. Just as everyone was laughing at Long Fei, Chu Chongkong's eyes flashed as tears glistened. She grabbed onto Long Fei's hands and said, "Master, Master, are you the legendary master?" His face was filled with agitation. The situation had changed too quickly, so quickly that no one could react to it. Long Fei was also stunned. Chu Chongkong said, "The pills you refine are just too great. They are even stronger than masters. If this isn't master, then what is... What? What is he talking about? Did I hear wrong? He is a transcendent master." No one could think straight. How did it suddenly turn out like this? Long Fei was clearly just a country bumpkin. How did he become a master when he was holding a broken pellet? Long Fei was very calm in his heart as he thought to himself, "Old Lord Taishang is old Lord Taishang. How could the pill he refined not be a holy ply?" Long Fei's mouth slowly rose. The young master of martial prowess mansion shouted, "Chu Chongkong, are you mistaken? He is a master? I think he's a super ghost master. That's more like it." Chu Chongkong did not care about young master of martial prowess mansion at all. In his eyes, the young master of martial prowess mansion was just a fart. He tightly held onto Long Fei's hand and said, "Come, let's go in and discuss. I'll agree to any condition you want." Finished, Chu Chongkong pulled Long Fei and was about to go in. At this time, Long Fei stopped and said, "Elder Chu, if you want to talk, that's fine. But before that, there are some things that I have to do." Chu Chongkong immediately asked, "What do you want?" "I'll help you do it." As soon as he finished speaking, the surrounding elite guards shuddered. Young master of martial prowess mansion's face changed. The 4 palanquin men were so scared that they started to tremble. Long Fei asked, "The matter is very simple. You just need to answer." Chu Chongkong said, "Tell me." Long Fei asked, "Can this pill enter your Xiao Yao Business Alliance's auction house?" Chu Chongkong immediately said, "Of course I can. This pill can defend myself against ancient spiritual treasure. How could I not enter the auction?" With that, everyone was stunned. Yang Wanu, Yang Yu, and Niu Dashan were even more dumbfounded. A single pill was comparable to an ancient spiritual treasure. What kind of concept was that? Too fierce. Young master of martial prowess mansion's eyes moved, and he shouted, "Chu Chongkong, are you a retard? His pills are comparable to ancient spiritual treasure S. Is your brain filled with water, or did you forget to take your medicine today?" Chu Chongkong's eyes were filled with anger. At this moment, an old man walked out and shouted, "How dare a little young master of martial prowess mansion be so impudent? How can the pill that I appraise be fake? The sound of thunder heavily crashed down. A momentary silence. Young master of martial prowess mansion saw the standard of the old man's chest, and his face changed greatly. Tsang, Master Long. Tsang Lan Emperor's chief alchemy master, Chaos Realm's top-notch alchemy master, and Xiao Yao Business Alliance's chief alchemy master both asked and asked. Since he had already come out and said it like that, this pellet must not be fake. Young master of martial prowess mansion's face turned pale. At this moment, Long Fei said slightly, Elder Chu, with the level of this pill, will I be able to exchange for a set of golden invitation card? Chu Chongkong immediately said, the golden invitation card is unable to reflect your identity at all. This is a diamond invitation card. You are a distinguished guest of our Xiao Yao Business Alliance, and all auctions receive a 20% discount. Long Fei did not hesitate as he took the diamond invitation card and walked in front of the young master of martial prowess mansion and said slightly, now you're the one who did it yourself? Or do you want me to do it for you? How about this, letting your mother accompany me for the night? Chapter 12:28, 100-Year-Old Life Essence Medicine. Chapter 12:28, 100-Year-Old Life Essence Medicine. Don't let Long Fei find the chance to do so. Finding an opportunity was stepping on death itself. He was such a person. Young master of martial prowess mansion's eyes were filled with anger as he bellowed, Brat, you F***king wanna die? Let's see who the fuck wants to die. Long Fei replied, the anger in his heart exploding, and said, 3 slaps. This daddy will do it for you. Buzz. He took a step forward. Young master of martial prowess mansion's chest was exposed, his face full of contempt. With just you? In terms of cultivation level, he did not put Long Fei in his eyes at all, and the purple realm did not even have the qualifications to carry his shoes. Seeing Long Fei rushing over, his face was full of ridicule. He blocked the attack with one blow. Boom! The strong force burst out, causing Long Fei to be forced to retreat continuously. The blood in his chest was churning. He almost could not hold on. However, in that instant, the paralyzed ring's attributes were triggered. Young master of martial prowess mansion was paralyzed. Without waiting for young master of martial prowess mansion to react, Long Fei slapped his face heavily. Pa! The 5 finger marks were clearly visible. Then he turned around and slapped on the left side of his face. Pa! Another 5-fingered mark appeared. A 3rd slap landed on the back of his head. He directly flipped young master of martial prowess mansion onto the ground. Long Fei smashed onto the ground, causing the ground to shake. He raised his right foot and stomped down fiercely, heavily landing on young master of martial prowess mansion's head, and roared, How does it feel to be stepped on by a bumpkin? Huh. The 3 slaps were fast and accurate, almost in one go. Young master of martial prowess mansion did not have the slightest bit of temper, nor did he have the time to react, because at that moment, his nerves were paralyzed. He couldn't move his entire body. He himself did not know, but when he regained his senses, he was already lying on the ground with his face red and blood trickling from the corner of his mouth, looking extremely uncomfortable. Everyone was shocked. Chu Chongkong also had a face full of shock. This brat, just by giving him a little chance, he would be able to create a miracle. His cultivation level of the purple gold realm is actually able to knock down a spirit level peak realm's young master of martial prowess mansion. The azure dragon also had a face full of shock, but his heart was filled with ecstasy. Long Fei stepped on young master of martial prowess mansion's head, his gaze sweeping across the entire competition grounds, and stared at the people who mocked him a moment ago, then shouted, Laugh, laugh again for lousy? Don't you like to laugh? F***CK. A curse burst out. Young master of martial prowess mansion lied on the ground and said, Kill him. The four sedan bearers moved. Niu Dashan instantly landed beside Long Fei, and the image of the demon ox king appeared. Niu Dashan shouted, "Let's try and see who it is." Chu Chongkong also shouted, "Young master of martial prowess mansion, this is not a place for you to behave atrociously." The elite guards of the Xiao Yao Business Alliance were startled. The four sedan bearers were stopped. The young master of martial prowess mansion was furious. "Chu Chongkong, you dare to go against the martial prowess mansion?" Chu Chongkong laughed coldly and said, "Xiao Yao Business Alliance has never been afraid of anyone before." Song Long also said slightly, "You punk, from today onwards, you are not to touch him at all. If not, this old man will not care about what martial prowess mansion you are." Humph! The two of them knew the type of pill Long Fei had given them. This pill was too powerful. If it could be mass-produced, the martial prowess mansion would be considered nothing. Even if they could not mass-produce them, if they could, they were super existences. So what if they offended the martial prowess mansion? Then, Chu Chongkong said slightly, "Little brother, let's go in and talk." Long Fei laughed. "Sure." Then he kicked young master of martial prowess mansion away. Niu Dashan ruthlessly said with contempt, "Who is the trash now? And who is the trash? Who's a dead dog?" Ha ha ha. The three of them followed Long Fei into the courtyard. Young master of martial prowess mansion slowly crawled up from the ground. His eyes were gloomy and his teeth were chattering loudly. "You dog, your father will not let you off." He had never suffered such a loss before. He had never been humiliated like this before. Young master of martial prowess mansion's eyes were bloodshot, and his killing intent was extremely strong. Within the VIP lounge, Song Long sat beside Long Fei, his face full of excitement, and asked, "What is the name of this pellet? How did you manage to successfully refine it? This medicinal pill is simply too powerful." When he sensed the attribute of this pill, he was stupefied. He had never seen such a powerful pill before. It contained an extremely strong power. It was not only a battle-type pill, but also a supportive-type pill. A single pill could cause a martial artist to undergo an earth-shattering transformation. This wasn't the most amazing part of it. Most importantly, he could give any martial artist 100 years of lifespan. This was the most shocking thing about the Azure Dragon. Even in the entire Chaos Realm, no one could refine a pill that could increase lifespan. This was one of the best, and saying that he was comparable to an ancient spiritual treasure would belittle him. If one were to say that the Chaos Realm was considered an intermediate plane, the warriors here are also restricted by their lifespan. If you can't break through the lifespan limit, you will die of old age too. Thus, how precious was this pill that could increase lifespan by 100 years? 100 years of time was incomparably precious to anyone. For those powerhouse who had never stepped into seclusion and whose lifespan was about to run out, its value was unimaginable. When they reached the end of their lifespan, time was life, everything. Even if he had to give up everything, he wanted to live for another year. This kind of pill was simply the savior of all the super powerhouses. In terms of pill properties, Long Fei did not rush over to take a look. However, he believed in old Lord Taishang's power. How could the pills refined by the ancestral alchemy be ordinary? But Long Fei still did not expect to concoct such a heaven-opposing pill. It was far beyond his expectations. Seeing Long Fei not saying a word, he said, "I'm sorry. I was too rash. Please forgive me. I was too excited." Top alchemy master in Master Tsang Long. But in front of Long Fei, he was like a fan worshipping his idol, excited to the extreme. Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "It doesn't matter. The success of this pill is also due to luck." Chu Chongkong looked at Long Fei and asked, "How many more of these pills do you have?" That was what he was concerned about. Long Fei said, "Other than the one I gave you, I have another one with me. I refined a total of 2 with limited spirit grass and a lot of energy." The Azure Dragon had experienced it firsthand, and when he heard Long Fei say that he had refined 2, he was even more shocked. Long Fei secretly thought, "If I knew I had 10 in total, what would I look like?" Chu Changkong carefully asked, "What kind of price do you want to sell?" Long Fei said, "I do not know about the price, so I'll leave this matter to you guys to decide." Naturally, the more the better. Chu Changkong hesitated for a while, then said, "Take out the other one for auction? If you can take it out to auction, our Xiao Yao Business Alliance is willing to buy a second one at the same price for the first one. What do you think?" Chapter 12, 29 Arrangements. Chapter 12, 29 Arrangements. This, Long Fei hesitated for a moment, then said, "More Xian crystal S are of no particular use to me." The Xian crystal was indeed useless to Long Fei. However, Long Fei was actually a little grateful towards Chu Changkong in his heart. He reminded him with good intentions several times that this person at least made Long Fei feel that he was a good person. Chu Changkong's heart tightened. Song Long was the same, but this kind of matter, none of them could force Long Fei. Seeing them so nervous, Long Fei laughed. "I don't want the Xian crystal. Take the other pill. I gave it to you as a gift." After he finished speaking, Long Fei took out an elixir and handed it over. There were still 3 minutes left for old Lord Taishang to possess. If he refined it with all his might, he could still refine more than 10 of these elixir. This kind of pill did not have much effect on Long Fei. However, to Chu Changkong and Song Long, this was simply the best pellets in the world. The two of them were stupefied, giving away such a precious pill. Chu Changkong's voice trembled as he said, This is not good, right?" Long Fei said indifferently, "Elder Chu, you reminded me with good intentions several times. Even though I didn't listen, this pill will be my repayment." The Azure Dragon was also incomparably moved as he said, "Little friend, you are truly amazing." And then the Azure Dragon took out a small command tablet that was engraved with the words Navy Tide and passed it to Long Fei. "Little friend, this is the command tablet for Songlan Emperor. The person who takes this command tablet can request Songlan Emperor to do anything." Yang Wanna's pair of eyes shook as the shock in his heart turned the heavens upside down. He said excitedly, "Even the entire Chaos Realm does not have 5 Kanglan Town Order. Songlan Emperor is one of the great hegemons of the Chaos Realm, an extremely powerful existence. This command medallion is priceless." Long Fei did not refuse and said, "Then I'll have to thank Master Tsang." "AI, how can you call me Grandmaster? I should have called you Master. I'm afraid in the entire Chaos Realm, you're the only person who can refine such a pill. You are the fully deserving Master. You definitely can't call me Master. If you don't mind, you can just call me Brother." How precious was the identity of the Azure Dragon. He directly wanted to be brothers with Long Fei, and there was a bit of a begging tone in his words, as though he took a huge advantage of her. Long Fei said, "Big Brother Tsang." He thought to himself, "Damn, why do I keep thinking of calling him Old Master?" The blue dragon's smile blossomed, and he said, "Ha ha, ha ha, ha ha ha." "Good, good, good." Chu Changkong also slightly said, "Did you come to the auction because you wanted something?" The Hell Gate, the Bounty Gate, and the 10,000 Alliance sect are all absolute hegemons of their forces. If you want to suppress them, you can only rely on the powerhouse on the Heavenly Emperor list. But Song Long's brows knitted, and said, "Have you thought about it? If anyone found out that the elixir was refined by him, then he would not only be chased by the three great forces, even all of Chaos Realm would come looking for him. That way, he would be in even greater danger than he is right now." Chu Changkong's gaze tensed up. "I really didn't think about that." The Azure Dragon said, "It would be better to use the power of the Xiao Yao Business Alliance to protect him. The matter of the elixir must not be discovered by anyone." This was the only way to conceal Long Fei's identity. Only then would he not be noticed by others. Once his identity was exposed, those super powerhouse would come looking for him, for the elixir. If he couldn't refine it, or didn't give it to him, then it would be stealing and killing. This was the case for Chaos Realm. The Hell Gate changed hands. The Bounty Gate mission had failed, and the entire Thousand Alliance sect's Lai Yen had been killed. The three great forces would definitely not let Long Fei off. If this matter were to be exposed again, they would send even more powerhouse to assassinate Long Fei. Chu Changkong slightly nodded. "I will report this matter in detail to the president." San Long's face was filled with excitement as he muttered, "A genius has appeared in the alchemy realm. This is going to be fun. This pellet will definitely be a super bomb." The alchemy realm prepare to tremble. "I can't wait to start the auction." Chapter 1230. Now it's Lousy's turn. Chapter 1230. Now it's Lousy's turn. Chu Changkong secretly went to the headquarters. He was doing an important promotion for the elixir that Long Fei had refined, and at the same time, he was applying for Powerhouse's protection. However, the Lianyu Castle, on the other hand, was out of control. The more young master of Martial Prowess Mansion thought back to the Martial Prowess Mansion, the angrier he got, and the more he thought about it, the more everything in the hall was smashed into pieces by him. What dog's hit pill is this? What bullshit is this? You're trying to make me look bad to you, aren't you? All right. Damned country bumpkin. Then just you wait. In his opinion, it was impossible for Long Fei to concoct a pill that could alert the Blue Dragon, this kind of master. He couldn't offend the Xiao Yao Business Alliance, but Long Fei, at this moment, a divine disciple hastily ran in and said, "Young master, they have already returned to the inn. I have already sent people to guard the entrance." Young master of Martial Prowess Mansion's eyes darkened, and he shouted coldly, "Good. Slap your father's face. Your father will break your head." Young master of Martial Prowess Mansion immediately led a group of people to slaughter their way out. Back at the inn, Yang Wanu, Yang Yu, and Nyo Dashin felt like they were dreaming and couldn't react at all. Yang Wanu looked at Long Fei and said, "You even know alchemy, and you even refined pills that even the master Tsang Long was unable to refine. You are too unfathomable. I've never heard that youth master of Hellgate knows alchemy." Yang Yu was all smiles as he said, "Long Fei, you are awesome." Nyo Dashin, on the other hand, recalled the expression on young master of Martial Prowess Mansion's face when he was stepped on by Long Fei and said, "This is too satisfying." "Ha!" Long Fei laughed. "You guys still have a lot of things that you don't know." It was also at this time Long Fei once again opened up the system to check the stats of the remaining 8 elixir. Increase lifespan by 100 years. For a super powerhouse who is running out of lifespan, this is simply a fatal temptation. Maybe he can use these pills to recruit a few super fighters. As Long Fei thought this, he also became secretly excited. He needed the protection of a powerful force. Right now, his cultivation was still too weak, so weak that he couldn't even protect himself, much less the people around him. Just as Long Fei was thinking about these, a person stood at the door and said respectfully, "Lord Long, young master of Martial Prowess Mansion, has already brought a group of people here. I am afraid it will not be good for you." Long Fei frowned. Nyo Dashin roared angrily and said, Just now, I was stepped on like a dead dog by boss. And now, you still dare to come? Is Lousy scared of him? Yang Yu and Yang Wanu were looking at Long Fei. Long Fei frowned. He did not care about who it was. Whoever it was that rushed over would explode to death. However, Yang Yu would never use the martial arts training, so he would definitely not be able to take care of her. Furthermore, the people around young master of martial prowess mansion were all experts. They were all at least spirit level. Long Fei could only handle a few of them. If they started fighting, Long Fei immediately made a decision and said, "We will leave first. Withdraw. Where are you 4 country bumpkins going?" Suddenly, a disdainful sneer came from outside the door. Young master of martial prowess mansion laughed complacently. "I knew that you two would come and play with me together with Xiao Yao Business Alliance. All of you will die here today." As soon as he finished, the dozen or so disciples of martial prowess mansion beside him rushed into the room in unison and quickly surrounded Long Fei and the other 4. Niu Dashan shouted, "Have you forgotten the feeling of being stepped on? Look at your face. It's still swollen like a pig's head. You still King dare to come here now?" The muscles at the corner of young master of martial prowess mansion's eyes twitched. His anger grew even stronger. Without waiting for Niu Dashan to finish speaking, the pressure of a spirit-level peak realm suddenly burst forth, pouring down towards the ground. Buzz. Rumble. Niu Dashan's body suddenly sank, and he immediately fell to the ground. Although Niu Dashan had made a breakthrough, his cultivation was only at the spirit level. He could not withstand the pressure of the spirit-level peak masters. "Keep clamoring for Lousy," young master of martial prowess mansion snorted coldly. Long Fei moved. In that instant, a dozen or so spirit rank powerhouses followed suit. They pulled out their long blades and placed it on Long Fei's neck without waiting for him to come close, preventing him from moving even half a step further. In that instant, young master of martial prowess mansion sent a kick upwards, landing heavily on Long Fei's abdomen. Long Fei retreated quickly. "Humph! Trash! You think you're worthy to fight against me?" Young master of martial prowess mansion laughed proudly. He did not place Long Fei in his eyes at all. A person of the purple realm simply did not qualify to enter his eyes. Long Fei's eyes darkened. His fists clenched tightly. The feeling of being crushed was very unpleasant. The difference in levels was too great, and he felt very uncomfortable. Young master of martial prowess mansion looked at Long Fei with a cold smile and said, "You're not convinced, are you? Not happy, right? Ha ha ha. If you don't like it, then I'll fly. Trash, try making a move on me again." While they were talking, the young master of martial prowess mansion moved again. Long Fei frowned. The idea had triggered its paralyzed ring. At this moment, a disciple stabbed his blade into Yang Yu's neck. Chapter 1231. Master of Martial Prowess Mansion. Chapter 1231. Master of Martial Prowess Mansion. Young master of Martial Prowess Mansion shouted angrily, "Trash, how dare you!" Not waiting for him to finish. Wind God leg. He kicked it and shouted, "There is nothing in this world that I don't dare to do." Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Young master of martial prowess mansion, who was pressed down by the Azure Dragon, simply didn't have any strength to resist. The wind god leg's violent strike heavily smashed onto his face, and his pretty good face had completely twisted and deformed. Young master of martial prowess mansion was kicked away and smashed into the wall. His face was pale, and his mouth was full of blood. Long Fei was much more vicious than him. Just now, Long Fei had received 2 kicks from him, but this time he kicked her 4 times. He was extremely powerful. Young master of martial prowess mansion shouted, "Go!" The Azure Dragon suddenly shouted, "Whoever dares to move, I'll kill him." His voice crushed everything in its path. None of the martial prowess mansion dared to make a move. In front of the Sun-rank powerhouse, they were nothing. Level 1 could crush anyone to death, let alone one with a large realm. Song Long said with a slight smile, "Brother Long, you can do whatever you want now. No one will dare to touch a single hair on your head." He wanted to help Long Fei. This was also what Chu Chongkong had instructed her before she left. She could not let anything go wrong with Long Fei. Long Fei walked over coldly. He did not care if he used his own strength to crush a person. He only cared if he could blow up young Master of Martial Prowess Mansion in one go. Young Master of Martial Prowess Mansion kept asking from the side, "What do you want to do? You dare to kill me? I am the young Master of the Martial Prowess Mansion. A cripple like you." Before he could even say the word thing, Long Fei's figure disappeared, and the power in his hands exploded out as he slapped young Master of Martial Prowess Mansion on the cheek. Long Fei asked, "Who's the trash?" "Pa!" It was incomparably loud. Without waiting for young Master of Martial Prowess Mansion to speak, Long Fei slapped him again and repeated himself. "Who is the trash?" Young Master of Martial Prowess Mansion was still being crushed by the Azure Dragon. He had no strength to retaliate and could only rage in his eyes. His heart was beating wildly as he said, "Azure Dragon, if you have the guts, retract your might. I'll kill him." "Kill me." The corner of Long Fei's mouth turned cold as he said, "Big Brother Tsong, take back your might. I want to see who kills who." Song Long smiled faintly and said, "No problem." Although he said that, he still became cautious and alert. After all, the level difference between Long Fei and young Master of Martial Prowess Mansion was too huge. If something went wrong, he wouldn't be able to bear the consequences. The pressure loosened. Young Master of Martial Prowess Mansion's body suddenly shot out as he shouted, "Trash, prepare to die." However, without waiting for him to finish speaking, Long Fei's shoulder suddenly leaned on him. King Kong fist. Boom. Ding. Trigger paralysis. Young Master of Martial Prowess Mansion was thrown out. Following that, Long Fei's Wind God leg flew out. Wind God leg. A series of explosions occurred, and he kicked out. Boom, boom, boom. Young Master of Martial Prowess Mansion was kicked away. In his paralyzed state, he felt even worse than being crushed by the pressure of the Azure Dragon. At this moment, Long Fei's right hand moved. The Xiao Luo machete fell into his hands. He took a step forward and landed right in front of young Master of Martial Prowess Mansion. "Who's going to die now?" The saber slashed down. Young Master of Martial Prowess Mansion's eyes were wide open in anger. His pupils were dilapidated, his crotch directly becoming wet. He was scared to the point of peeing and shouted, "Father, save me!" Buzz. Long Fei slashed down with his blade, but when the mountain-splitting knife was still a few centimeters away from the young Master of Martial Prowess Mansion's head, he could not chop it off no matter how hard he tried. It was as if he was covered by a thick layer of steel. Boom! The sky darkened. A powerful force struck over. The powerful force instantly formed a shockwave that struck Xiang Longfei. The center of the Azure Dragon's brows trembled. His body descended and landed in front of Long Fei. Rumble! 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 The sky above the inn was filled with muffled thunder as explosions occurred nonstop. The Azure Dragon took a few steps back to stabilize his body. Even a Sun-rank powerhouse could not withstand the impact of the attack, and if it was Long Fei, he would probably be killed instantly. The rumbling sounds faded away, and two silhouettes landed. Master of Martial Prowess Mansion. The other person was another elder of the Xiao Yao Business Alliance, Chiu Ho. "Who wants to kill my son?" Master of Martial Prowess Mansion's gaze darkened as he stared at Long Fei. The pressure was like a pillar crushing down with great force. Long Fei's sea of consciousness suddenly exploded. His mind was in a mess. The pressure attack was Long Fei's most detestable attack, relying on his cultivation level to suppress the enemy. Being suppressed by that pressure made him very unhappy. However, Long Fei did not give in at all and said, "It's me. You're courting death." The master of martial prowess mansion's gaze turned sinister, carrying killing intent. The pressure on them multiplied. Long Fei was unable to resist it, and his body was trembling. Song Long's gaze tightened. He took a step forward to block and said with a heavy tone, "Master of martial prowess mansion, if you dare to touch him, Songlong Emperor and your martial prowess mansion will be irreconcilable." His cultivation was not as good as master of martial prowess mansions. However, the power behind him was over 100 times that of the great martial prowess mansion, and that was why the master of martial prowess mansion was afraid of him. Master of martial prowess mansion's eyes darkened as he said, "Song Long, you have to figure out whose territory this is." The Azure Dragon said, "I don't care whose territory it is, but if you want to touch him, then you have to kill me first. Master of martial prowess mansion, try touching me." Azure Dragon, "Don't be too arrogant." Master of martial prowess mansion was enraged. Song Long laughed coldly and said, "I am very sorry. I have always been this arrogant. He is my sworn brother. If you touch him, it would be equivalent to touching this old man." Master of martial prowess mansion, "Try it." Very wild. Even Long Fei was shocked. Master of martial prowess mansion was also shocked in his heart. A top-ranked alchemist of the Chaos Realm is actually sworn brothers with an unknown brat. Who is that kid? Chiu Ho, who was standing beside him, also tightened his gaze and laughed lightly. "Master Song Long, this is not a joke. This auction is going smoothly thanks to martial prowess mansion's help." There was a trace of intimidation in his words. Chiu Ho was in charge of the Soul Treasure auction. He was in charge of competition with Chu Chongkong. Compared to the Spirit Pellet auctions, he had a huge advantage in terms of spirit treasures, so he normally did not place Chu Chongkong in his eyes. This time, the arrival of the Azure Dragon made him unhappy. If he could suppress the Azure Dragon at this time, then his life would be even more carefree in the future. Song Long sneered coldly and said, "It's my business whether or not I stand on the wrong side of the line. If you want to touch him, that's impossible." He was resolute and decisive. The gazes of both the master of martial prowess mansion and Chiu Ho darkened. They never thought that the Azure Dragon would be so hard. Young master of martial prowess mansion stood up from the ground and said, "Trash, do you dare to duel?" Long Fei laughed coldly and said, "Here," young master of martial prowess mansion said, 3 days later, in the auction, I will make you kneel on the ground and beg for forgiveness." Long Fei continued to laugh coldly. "Why be so troublesome? We can start right now." It was just that. At this moment, Song Long suddenly said, "All right, let's do it at the auction 3 days later." Chapter 1233, Tasks That Can't Be Rejected. Chapter 1233, Tasks That Can't Be Rejected. Ghost's Cave. It was as sinister as hell, and all sorts of screams were emitted from the darkness. It was as if evil spirits were wailing. A forbidden area for the living, the paradise of death. Ghost's Cave was a huge valley with countless deep caves. In the dark of the night, the cave emitted green ghost flames, and there was no end to it. Very few people dared to enter this place. But Long Fei had no choice but to enter. The demon beast in the mountain range simply could not satisfy his need to level up. He had to enter some more dangerous places. And only the more dangerous the places, the more experience he would gain. Midnight. Long Fei stood in the depths of the Ghost's Cave as he lightly exhaled. 3 days, 15 levels. Humph. F***. Long Fei immediately stepped into a deep hole, and the Xiao Luo machete in his hand cut apart the ghost flame. Then his figure was engulfed by darkness. Woo! A gust of cold wind blew, and before Long Fei could react, a gloomy and sinister spirit body pounced at him. Boom! The Xiao Luo machete in Long Fei's hand moved and slashed. Swish! It missed. A spirit body was not affected by normal physical attacks, mountain-splitting knife piercing through his body, and did not cause any damage. Long Fei's heart tensed up. Damn! Then how do I kill him? Bam! With the spirit body wrapped around his neck, Long Fei rolled his eyes. The fire unicorn said, "Master, let me out. Let me go out and bite it to death." Long Fei said, "It's not time for you to make an appearance yet. Fire unicorn, give me some of your blood." The fire unicorn moved and condensed the Qilin blood into Long Fei. He was an ancient divine beast and had the power to repel evil. At this moment, in the dark night, Long Fei's eyes were as bright as day. His body suddenly flipped, stared at the spirit body that was sneering at him, and slashed down. Boom! It was divided into two. Instant kill. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Evil Spirit Body, for obtaining 4,000 experience, 500 Holy Source points, and 1 Energy Values point. Ha ha ha! It worked! The corner of Long Fei's mouth curled up, and he said slightly, "Now, let's see where you guys can run to." He charged straight down. There weren't many evil spirit body along the way, just a few scattered, but the experiences of these spirit bodies were pretty good. Long Fei went deeper. The lower one went, the larger the space became, until it was like the bottom of an abyss. Strangely enough, there were still no evil spirit body around, which made Long Fei a little irritated, and he thought to himself, the experience points is not bad, but the number of monsters are too little. How do I level up? There was no other way. It was too late to change the map, so he could only continue. For the entire night, Long Fei's experience did not even reach half a level. After dawn, this place was even more empty. Not even the shadow of a spirit body could be found. He wanted to attract more monsters for Fire Unicorn to attack, but nothing at all. What the F***ck? During the day, Long Fei entered the surrounding mountains to hunt Demon Beast. The next night, Long Fei entered the valley again. Like last night, there were no evil spirit body around, as if they had all avoided him. Long Fei was really puzzled. An entire day has passed, and I haven't even reached level 1. If this goes on, let alone level 15, I won't even be able to reach level 1. What the hell is going on? Didn't they say that the Ghost's Cave is a forbidden grounds? No one dared to enter? This was a forbidden area. Forbidden your asterisk, SS my ass. Long Fei could not help but scold. There was no other way. Long Fei could only endure. Another night, and Long Fei once again entered Ghost's Cave Valley. This time, suddenly, it was different. This time, a blood moon appeared in the sky. A round blood moon. The distance outside the valley began to fluctuate. All the demon beasts were frantically fleeing, but from time to time, the cries of demon beast could be heard as rows and rows of evil spirit body carried them into the valley. In just a short half an hour, the corpses of demon beast piled up like a mountain. In the center of the valley, there was a huge groove. At first, Long Fei thought it was just a trap. But now, the grooves were used to store blood. The blood slowly flowed out of the grooves and flowed along all sorts of strange paths. This was a kind of sacrifice. Long Fei's mind was filled with questions. Looking at the dense evil spirit body in the valley, he was not in a hurry to go out. He also wanted to know what these ghosts were doing. Half a minute later, the valley was surrounded by blood, and a massive formation took form. Under the light of the blood-red moon, the entire valley turned blood red. Blood, sacrifice world. Long Fei's face changed. Damn, what the hell are you trying to do? Buzz. In the groove in the middle of the blood pool, a body slowly rose up, emitting an incomparably powerful blood sacrificial strength. Blood all over. However, Long Fei could tell that she was a woman, because the two protruding peaks on his chest were not obstructed by anything at all. She was also a very beautiful woman. Her figure was extremely hot. Her upper legs were slender, belonging to the tempo of only being able to play the new year with her legs. At this moment, the girl abruptly opened her eyes and stared at the blood moon in the sky. The blood moon's blood energy slowly floated down. The woman took a deep breath, and the essence of the blood moon was quickly absorbed by him. At this moment, the powerful force in her body disappeared. At this moment, there was a commotion in the woods. Suddenly, he shouted, "It's the right time to do it!" Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Several figures suddenly flew out from the forest, their target being the woman in the blood pool. Seeing that someone had appeared, the surrounding evil spirit body let out a mournful ghost cry. In the midst of their craziness, the woman was their king. Their king was at the critical point of his breakthrough. A blood moon that only appeared once every 10 years. They definitely could not let anyone destroy it. Moreover, when the woman absorbed the blood moon essence, she had no power and her cultivation was completely gone. This was her most fatal moment. Everything happened too fast. The reaction of the evil spirit body could not keep up. These people's cultivation were too strong. Each one of them was a peak spirit level powerhouse, and there was even a sun level powerhouse. Evil spirit body was simply unable to resist it. Moreover, their king was absorbing the blood moon essence, so they had no way to command him. They were like 5 flies, only able to crazily rush up to block him. But right at this moment, the queen's eyes suddenly turned and stared straight at Long Fei, who was in the darkness. Their gazes met, and a pleading look appeared in her eyes. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for triggering the hidden quest, Save the Queen of Blood Moon. Level, SS time, 1 hour reward, special reward. Damn! Long Fei suddenly cursed in his heart. So many experts. Are they sending me to my death? Deny. Ding. The quest cannot be refused. If the quest fails, the player will be killed. Damn you! Chapter 1234. Let go of the queen, and let me... Chapter 1234. Let go of the queen, and let me suddenly... Long Fei couldn't react at all. Quest failed, player killed. This. The heck? Are you trying to scam me to death? System, what does this Queen of Blood Moon have to do with you? Why are you so nervous? You want her life. You don't want my life, right? Long Fei cursed. A countdown appeared in his mind. If he did not complete the quest within an hour, even if the quest failed, the result would be him being killed by the system. All right. Long Fei's gaze tensed up. If I die, I die. There's nothing to be afraid of. Just as their attacks were about to land, Long Fei suddenly roared out, "Let go of that girl! Let me do it!" Those people were stunned. At this moment, using the speed of the wind god leg, Long Fei quickly kicked out. The idea moved and connected to the Baron Nashor. Abnormal dragon, come out! Boom! The ground sank, and a deep hole appeared. An incomparably ugly and malevolent great dragon rushed out of the void. Long Fei controlled all of them and said, "With the exception of this Queen of Blood Moon, all of them will be sprayed to death." Rumble! 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 The level 500 abnormal dragon unleashed its might. All sorts of elemental attacks crazily shot out from its mouth, one after the other. Those evil spirit body were simply unable to withstand it. All of them were forced to retreat by Dalong's attack, but their reactions were quick and did not injure him. "Kid, what are you doing?" a man asked harshly. Long Fei said, "This woman is mine. If you want to die, just come over." Now that things had reached such a stage, Long Fei was willing to give it his all. No matter what kind of Queen of Blood Moon it was, he had to complete the mission, and if he couldn't, he would be killed. A man's eyes turned cold and shouted, "You dare to ruin my Holy Moon Sect's plans. You're courting death." Holy Moon Sect. Long Fei trembled slightly, opened his mouth, and sneered, "You're a disciple of the Holy Moon Sect." A man said proudly, "What? You must be afraid." "Afraid? Ha ha! Your father will kill the people from your Holy Moon Sect." Long Fei's eyes were blazing with anger. Holy Moon Sect was surrounding Yuan Yang clan and was a part of the Thousand Alliance Sect. If he didn't kill them, who would he kill? "You're courting death." "I will deal with the three of you against Queen of Blood Moon." The four of them separated. Three of them attacked Queen of Blood Moon, while the other one attacked Long Fei. Long Fei was not afraid. He was only afraid that these people would not come close, because, besides possessing 9 attacks, the abnormal dragon also had another attribute, the AoE attribute. As soon as they get close, they lose blood. As long as you come, death won't be a problem. Paralyzed ring, activate. Body protection ring, activate. Long Fei made all his preparations and said with a cold smile, "Hurry, hurry. My Dalong is unable to endure the thirst." Boom, boom, boom. Ding, ding, ding. Dalong did not stop his attack. Long Fei's experience soared into the sky, and the system only wanted him to save Queen of Blood Moon. It did not ask him to save the evil spirit body. Thus, kill. As the Holy Moon Sect attacked, Long Fei stood beside Dalong with a slight smirk on his lips, and at the very instant he attacked, Long Fei punched out with both of his fists. Rumble! His strength was too great. Long Fei's body was blasted away. It did not cause any paralysis. However, the powerhouse spat out a mouthful of blood and quickly retreated. The other 3 people did the same. Just as they approached the Queen of Blood Moon, they were forced back by Dalong's group attack. The attacks of a 500 dragon weren't just for show. Long Fei crawled up from the ground and shouted, "Come again!" He thought to himself, as expected, the higher the level, the lower the probability of paralysis. "You dog, if not for this monster, you would have died long ago." The powerhouse's eyes turned sinister as he looked at the 9-headed dragon wildly wreaking havoc. "Elder, this monster is a bit difficult to deal with." "Elder, what should we do?" "Deal with him first. Don't worry about Queen of Blood Moon. She still has a lot of time. Wait for us to finish off this brat. Then we can kill her." The secret arts of the Holy Moon Sect, combined with the sacred arts of the Queen of Blood Moon, I will be able to comprehend a new divine ability. At that time, ha ha! The elder sneered. In that instant, he stared at Long Fei and said, "Let's see how long you can last. Attack!" With a loud shout, the 4 of them rushed forward at the same time towards Long Fei. Long Fei looked up and swallowed a pellet that could help him recover his holy source, then said with a cold smile, "I want to see how long you 2 can endure this." The 4 of them quickly flew around, dodging Dalong's elemental attacks, then entered Dalong's area of effect. The 4 of them released their powers at the same time and smashed Xiang Long Fei. Long Fei did not stay idle. F***CK. If you can't numb the elder, then let's change people. His body sank, and both of his feet heavily inserted into the ground. At the same time the 4 people's attacks descended, Long Fei moved both his fists and explosively struck out. Boom, boom, boom. As the 4 people's attacks fell, Long Fei's health point was not threatened at all. His body was not harmed in the slightest, not even a strand of hair was harmed. All of the injuries had been converted into consumption of holy source. This was the protective ring. If the holy source is not destroyed, then life will not die. In that moment, Long Fei's fists moved, and the paralysis still failed. The four attacked again. Long Fei's body still did not receive any injury, but the value of his holy source was almost depleted, so he could at most take one injury. Again, the four of them attacked once again. Long Fei also went up to meet it once again. Boom! Ding! Paralysis effect triggered. F***CK. In that moment, Long Fei moved and roared, "Dao Long!" Roar. With a roar, one of the dragons charged straight down. The three of them flew out, while the other one was paralyzed. He stood rooted to the ground, and with a single bite, he was swallowed up by the dragon. Blood dripped down. The other three were furious. The three once again attacked in a frenzy. Long Fei's heart tightened. This is bad. Holy Source was exhausted, and his health point was simply unable to withstand the attacks of the three people. However, at this very moment, ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, purple level, 4. His holy source value instantly rose to full. Long Fei grinned. His fists moved again. Come. Boom. Ding. Trigger paralysis. Dao Long, bite him to death. Another person was killed, leaving behind only 2 people. The 2 of them only had half of their health remaining. Every time they attacked, they would have to withstand the attacks from Big Dragon. Long Fei stood under Dao Long and laughed. Come and kill me. Aren't you shouting too much? Come kill me. Ha! The 2 were once again enraged. Long Fei's fists moved again as he faced the attack head-on. Boom. It did not cause any paralyzing effect, but the 2 of them endured the attack of the dragon at the same time and bounced off it, attacking again. Several times there was no paralyzing effect, but a disciple was sprayed to death by Dao Long. Only the last elder, who was also the powerhouse S, remained. Suddenly, ding! Chapter 12:35. Small explosion. Chapter 12:35. Small explosion. Suddenly, a system announcement sounded out. Long Fei's heart tightened. It's not time for me to level up yet. When will there be a berserk mode? The sound of a notification rang at this time. Crap! Long Fei cursed in his heart as he immediately checked Dao Long's time. What the F***CK? Ding! Dao Long time is over. Just as the system beep fell, it let out a wild roar, shrank its body, and drilled into the deep hole. Long Fei was confused. He had been busy dealing with the 4 people of Holy Moon Sect and had forgotten about Dao Long's time. Moreover, half of the time had already passed, and the Queen of Blood Moon had not recovered yet. The mission was still more than 20 minutes away. Could he still hold on? Long Fei moved his right hand and summoned the golden cudgel out. The elder of the Holy Moon Sect watched as the dragon disappeared, then turned to look coldly at Long Fei and said, "Brat, now that there are no more monsters, let's see how you block me." With that, the figure disappeared. In that instant, the elder struck down with his palm. With the power of the sun rank being crushed, Long Fei's mind and consciousness were in turmoil, feeling extremely uncomfortable. However, Long Fei did not retreat even half a step. Sensing that the strong wind was getting closer, the golden cudgel in Long Fei's hand moved and smashed down fiercely. Rumble! The elder's face tightened and said, "Such a strong power, but it's too slow. Wake up." The figure of the elder moved and used a move to lock Xiang Long Fei's throat. It was also at this time. Long Fei smirked and said, "Too slow? You're wrong." The reason why Long Fei smashed the rod down earlier was not to hurt him, but to slow him down so that Long Fei could completely see his movement trajectory. With his attack, Long Fei also attacked with his own attack. Boom. Ding. Trigger paralysis. F***. What do you mean by luck going against the heavens? Long Fei roared wildly in his heart. He was betting everything on this one move. If he did not trigger the numbing effect, he would definitely be struck flying or even killed. But with the effects of the paralysis activated, it was time for Long Fei to take control of it. Buzz. The Holy Moon Sect elder's body was motionless, as if he had been petrified. His eyes revealed incomparable shock. Brat, what is this? What is it? This is the Hades Tempest. As soon as he finished, Long Fei's hands tightly held onto the golden cudgel. The Samisen true fire on top of it ignited, and then smashed down onto the elder's head with a pole. Boom! Boom! The air exploded, and the top of the elder's head split open. Fresh blood spurted out, and a critical damage also floated out. Acting cool. The Holy Moon Sect elders are amazing. No matter how amazing it is, you have to kneel down for your father. With a swing of the staff, his numbing effect disappeared, but the intense pain made him extremely uncomfortable, and his reaction slowed down by half a minute. And at this time, Long Fei was using, while he was still sick, wanna kill, extremely well. Bam! Bam! Bang! Will he die? Under the golden cudgel's violent strike, his blood rapidly drained. The elder's body had already been smashed into the ground as he angrily spouted, "Kid, Holy Moon Sect won't let you go so easily. Holy Moon Sect won't let me go. You're wrong. It's father that will not let Holy Moon Sect off." Long Fei's body sank, the golden cudgel in his hand struck down once again, and roared, "Explode for me!" Rumble. The blood groove on the elder's head shattered and finally disappeared. Die. The system sounded out. Long Fei thought for a moment, but in the end, he did not release his striking energy value. He was merely an elder. He did not want to waste several hundred points of striking value. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Elder of Holy Moon Sect, for obtaining 34,000 experience, for 1,000 Holy Source points, 10 energy values points. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the secret technique, Moon Break Strike. You wish to learn it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the ancient spiritual artifact, Clock of Hell. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Beast Blood Vein. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 122 Profound Stones. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently level, purple level 5. The system sounded out continuously. Long Fei was a little confused because the elders of the Holy Moon Sect had unexpectedly exploded, and in the absence of using striking energy value, they had suddenly exploded. Furthermore, he even dropped an ancient spiritual artifact. It was too unexpected for Long Fei. Moonbreak Strike. Is this the Holy Moon Sect's secret technique? Cultivate. Long Fei moved. Ding. System prompt. Temporarily unable to cultivate. Huh. Long Fei was startled. What do you mean by temporarily unable to cultivate? System, what the F***ck are you doing? You can't even cultivate your cultivation technique. Moonbreak Strike, Holy Moon Sect's secret technique. He needed the fusion of another cultivation technique to cultivate, and this was also the reason why Elder Shinyu was here. Clock of Hell? Huff. Long Fei looked at the golden cudgel in his hand and said, "I'll give it to you to swallow." Buzz. The golden cudgel instantly devoured the Clock of Hell, and the system notification sounded. The energy filling went up another level. But What made Long Fei puzzled was that the system still did not show how many ancient spiritual artifacts were required to be absorbed by the golden cudgel in order for it to be able to trigger the power of the second level. Woo woo. Woo woo woo. Once the four powerhouse S died, all the evil spirit body stared at Long Fei. They don't have much intelligence. They only know that the queen can't be harmed in any way. So, they crazily rushed at Xiang Long Fei in an instant. Long Fei swallowed a holy source pill. He took off his protective ring. Right now, he needed the strong holy source, so he could not let it slip away in front of his health point. Boom, boom, boom. Long Fei waved his golden cudgel and shouted in a deep voice, "Come, it just so happens that I need experience points. Come with me." He charged into the group of evil spirit body like a monkey and started killing. Ding, ding. The system's notification sound rang out crazily, and the experience points was also increasing rapidly from the holes on both sides of Ghost's Cave's valley. Evil spirit body frantically rushed out, continuously rushing at Xiang Long Fei, who was firmly encircled. He didn't care about anything. He just wanted to kill. He only thought about experience. Upgrade. It was to the point that he did not notice the changes in the body of the Queen of Blood Moon within the pool of blood. The essence within the Blood Moon was absorbed by her, and at the same time, a set of red-colored armor slowly appeared on her body. There is a convexity. His appearance slowly revealed itself. His strength was slowly recovering. There was still a minute left before Long Fei's mission ended. Queen of Blood Moon looked at the surrounded Long Fei with a special gaze. The last piece of armor on his body appeared, and he looked like a super soldier in the apocalypse world. However, even 10,000 times more super soldiers could not compare to Queen of Blood Moon, because her strength was extremely terrifying. His body slowly floated as he stared at Long Fei. Long Fei uttered another vulgar sentence as he roared out in a heavy tone, "This old one will be presumptuous today." He took a step forward. Long Fei's body immediately charged forward. Queen of Blood Moon's eyes turned cold. He glared, and a pressure from the idea pressed down. Long Fei moved his right hand. Suck star over China. Boom. She quickly absorbed the pressure released by the Queen of Blood Moon. The pressure she released was not strong because she thought that Long Fei would not be able to withstand it. However, after absorbing the pressure, the barrier was gone. Long Fei also jumped down. Queen of Blood Moon's body trembled slightly as he retreated quickly. However, Long Fei did not let go and silently thought in his heart, "She's afraid of getting close." Ha ha! The moment he landed, Long Fei stomped his feet. Wind God leg! He used the speed of the Wind God leg to quickly chase after her, and revealed an evil smile. "Queen, let's see where you can run to." Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. This time, he was even faster and directly threw himself into Queen of Blood Moon's embrace. Queen of Blood Moon's face was shocked as his entire body fiercely fell into the pool of blood. Long Fei was suddenly shocked in his heart as he exclaimed in his heart, "Not good." But at this time, he could no longer make any choices. He could only fall into the blood pool with the Queen of Blood Moon. Walala! Blood splashed in all directions, and the beast blood flowed into Long Fei's mouth, his entire body becoming extremely hot. Just as Long Fei's body was immersed in the blood water, the whole world suddenly changed. This was not blood water, but the Queen of Blood Moon's palace. Moreover, the most important thing was that after Queen of Blood Moon entered the pool of blood, all of the armor on her retreated. That figure, that Twin Peaks, that perky little ass, every inch of his body was emitting an unparalleled temptation. Stimulated by the beast blood, Long Fei was agitated. Under the strong temptation of the Queen of Blood Moon's body, the power of primordial chaos beneath Long Fei's crotch became even more restless. Gudong! Long Fei swallowed a mouthful of saliva heavily as his entire body heated up. Queen of Blood Moon's face turned red. She wanted to cover her body, but there was nothing in this palace that could shield her as she continued to retreat. Long Fei said sinisterly, "I didn't think you would still like to sleep naked." Queen of Blood Moon bellowed, "Get out of here, now, now." The commanding tone was extremely tough. However, what she didn't know was that the more a woman was like this, the more it made a man feel like he was conquering her. Long Fei said lightly, "It was I who protected you. I should have collected a protection fee." "System, you are not giving me any rewards. I'll take it myself. Perhaps." Long Fei suddenly remembered that the system had given him a special reward. Chapter 1237, Blast Level 10. Chapter 1237, Blast Level 10 Crack. Crack, 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 crack. How long? Long Fei couldn't even remember what it was, but he could clearly remember the name. Queen of Blood Moon immediately lost his temper, and in the end, she completely obeyed and cooperated with Long Fei. Women are like that. Once she felt good, she would experience a drastic change. Are you still being arrogant? Still trying to act cool? Still trying to put on a face of a queen towards your father? Long Fei stared at the half-dead Queen of Blood Moon, his mouth hooked up into a lewd smile. Satisfying. Seeing that Queen of Blood Moon did not say anything, Long Fei slapped her buttocks and shouted, "Speak." Queen of Blood Moon replied without strength, "I don't dare to. Husband, I will not dare to any more." From the queen to the slaves. Long Fei had only used one night. The corner of Long Fei's mouth rose into a smile. Some women just do. At this moment, ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for completing the quest of saving Queen of Blood Moon. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining a special reward. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for consecutively leveling up to level 10. Ding, ding, ding. The system exploded out, causing Long Fei's cultivation to soar. Every time his strength surged, it would become stronger by a bit, and in that short moment, his cultivation had reached the 6th stage of the spirit level. Holy *T. This is going crazy. Long Fei was dumbstruck. Never would he have thought that this was the legendary special reward, a level 10 reward. He didn't even dare to think about it. Long Fei sat on the side of the bed, looking at his own level in the system with a stupefied expression. He's too crazy. Even his little heart can't take it. He thought the mission had failed, because the time limit of the quest was only 1 hour, and the queen did not die at that time, and the quest had been completed without any reward. Long Fei thought that the quest had ended just like that. However, he did not think that slapping Queen of Blood Moon was also part of the mission, and the most important part at that, completing the mission. This is the queen. Suddenly, could it be? All of this was arranged by the system? Damn. System boss, my respect to you is like the unending torrents of the river, and also like the unstoppable flooding of the Yellow River. Long Fei was ecstatic. When the quest was just triggered, the system immediately wanted to kill him. Why was that so? This was forcing him to complete the mission. This was definitely creating an opportunity for him. Was there such a good person in the world? Long Fei was moved. In the future, I will leave my big matters of sexual happiness to you. Seeing Long Fei being agitated and moved, the Queen of Blood Moon crawled up from the bed and hugged Long Fei from behind and said, "Husband, what's wrong?" System boss, in order to repay you, I'm prepared to do it again. Otherwise, I would feel sorry for you. Long Fei abruptly turned his body and once again rode the naked Queen of Blood Moon below him. Lien Yu Castle. Early morning. Chu Chongkong paced back and forth, his expression extremely anxious. A disciple ran in. Chu Chongkong immediately asked, "Are you back? Are you back?" The disciple shook his head slightly. "Even the north, south, east, and west gates have their guards assigned, and we don't see any trace of Lord Longfei. He went to the place where the Ghost's Cave is, which is an extremely dangerous place. Could it be?" Nyo Dashin got up and shouted, "That's impossible. My boss will definitely be fine." Song Long frowned and blamed himself. "I shouldn't have let him leave that time," Chu Chongkong said. "Even more so, he should not have agreed to fight with young master of martial prowess mansion at the auction. Just yesterday, young master of martial prowess mansion's cultivation had already broken through the sun rank, and," Chu Chongkong said in a deep voice, "the president must see Long Fei first before he is willing to send out the powerhouse to protect him. We do not even know where Long Fei is, or if he is alive or dead. Even if you want to protect him, it's useless." Xiao Yao Business Alliance was a huge power. The pellet that Chu Chongkong brought along caused a huge stir. It could be said that all sorts of powerhouse rushed into the Lien Yu Castle for that pellet. Increasing lifespan by 100 years was not something that anyone could obtain. The reason the guild leaders of the Xiao Yao Business Alliance came personally was to see Long Fei. Long Fei had not returned for a long time. This made it difficult for Chu Chongkong to carry out his plans. Yang Yu muttered, "I believe that Long Fei will definitely return." At this moment, Chioho walked in with a smile and said, "Elder Chu, the auction will start in half an hour. Why are you still here?" "Your pill is the #1 item in the auction." Chu Chongkong's heart was filled with anger as he looked at Chioho in annoyance. "What are you doing here? You need to mind my business? Do you want me to tell you when I'm going to the auction?" "Elder Cho, are you so bored that your balls hurt?" "If you're so free that your balls hurt, find a piece of hempstone and grind your eggs," Chu Chongkong shouted. Chioho's face became ugly, and he shouted coldly, "Chu Chongkong, what kind of attitude do you have?" Chu Chongkong said, "I have this kind of attitude. What can you do?" With a belly full of anger that he didn't know how to vent, Chioho ran over and crashed into his barrel of gunpowder.